Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the Thursday Night Throwdown. It's the big guy KG. As you can see, I'm sitting by myself, but I'm not going to be by myself for long. This right here is the show that we do on Friday evening. See if I can channel my inner midnight rider who's on his way. It's the show we do on Friday Eve. When you go into the office tomorrow, and you surrounded by the Keurig, and you're going to hear the guy that's always stealing people's lunches talking about, hey, did you guys watch Sideline Junkies Podcast Network last night? And then Carol from accounting going to come down and say, yeah, I caught it. And then Robbie from HR going to come down, yeah, we need to talk about you stealing them lunches, but yeah, I caught it. And you know what everybody's going to be talking about? The Thursday Night Throwdown. Yeah, baby. I'm trying here. That's my inner midnight rider there. But as you can see, this is the Thursday Night Throwdown. Welcome. We got a lot for you tonight, man. This is where we've been planning this for a couple of weeks. Get it off your chest when it comes down to the Commanders and their season and how you felt about it as a fan base, how you felt about it, overall period. So that's absolutely one of those things that I can't wait to get into because, it's going to be some hemming and hawing, some bitching and complaining too. So, we're going to put it there where it's at. But most definitely, this right here means the world to me right here. The Midnight Rider said I did good. That means the world to me, man. I ain't even gonna lie to you. He'll be joining soon, so you're gonna be expect to see him running off from the wings and sliding across the stage like he Eddie Kane Jr. And I'm gonna ask him where Bobby at. I don't think he know where Bobby at, but let's do it. A little bit of breaking news. The Ravens have picked their coach. Do I agree with it? Not at all. You have so many, for lack of a better term, sexy candidates. I'm trying to pull it up here. You have so many sexy candidates that you could pick from, and you choose Jesse Minter, who is a former Chargers DC, to replace John Harbaugh. Now, I'm all for giving, the young assistants and things like that, their first shots. And what's happening, Josh? Highly opinionated. What's happening, brother? I'm all for that. Now, if I gotta choose who I'm gonna pick, I don't know if I'm picking Jesse Minter to lead this Baltimore team because they need somebody like a Brian Dable. And what Brian Dable did with Josh Allen, imagine what he would do with Lamar Jackson, okay? That's one thing. Now, Jesse Minter, he's a young cat, and a lot of young coaches. He's only 42. Went to Mount St. Joseph, was a wide receiver. He was a defensive intern at 06 for Notre Dame, graduate assistant for Cincinnati from 07 to 08. Indiana State from 2009 to 2012. He was the linebacker coach and the defensive coordinator. Went to Georgia State as a DC. Was with the Ravens as a defensive assistant and from 17 to 20, assistant defensive backs coach, and then the defensive backs coach in 20. Left and went to Vanderbilt in 21 for DC and safeties coach. Went to Michigan 22 to 23 as a DC. Then went to the Chargers 24-25 as the DC. So he comes back to the Ravens in 26 as a head coach, and he's a national champion in 23. I believe that is with Michigan. So, he got some championship pedigree, first head coaching job. Perry checking in. He said, kept it in the family, came from Ravens coaching staff. True indeed. The boss says, y'all are super high on Dable, but here's what killed Dable in New York. he didn't have the personnel. You lose Saquon, you got Danny Dimes. Danny Dimes had more of a running game by himself than he did with Saquon. That's a problem. You didn't have receivers. It was so much that killed him in New York. Yes, I'm going to be high on Dable because I know Dable has an offensive mind and he's going to make a better offensive coordinator than head coach sometimes. But right now, it's like you gift wrapped it and you give him Lamar. Imagine what could happen. Josh says, Jesse Minter is fine as long as Cliff Kingsbury is the OC. Now, if Cliff Kingsbury goes up 295 and becomes the OC in Baltimore instead of getting a head coaching job, I'm gonna shake my head on that. But if it happens, remember you heard it here first. And Perry said needs to build a good staff and he knows the building. Yeah. And you know what you do? You build a good staff with veteran coaches and things of that sort, and guys that know how to play the game, know how to coach the game. So, hey Josh, I agree with that. Dable going to Buffalo. I feel the same way. I've been feeling like that Brian Dable was gonna go back to Buffalo, and him and Josh are gonna make that magic, and he's going to wind up being the one that takes Buffalo over the hump. So I'm just going to say that there. And speaking of Buffalo, I've had such high praise for that team. They were my Super Bowl pick. So it's disappointing that they didn't get there. But again, I don't think McDermott was the problem. But yeah. There's still a couple of good coaches out there that don't have a home. And if you can find it in your heart to give a good ball coach a home, you got Arizona, you have Las Vegas, Buffalo, Atlanta's got their guy. You got a couple of different places to go. So, also, breaking news, this may not be big, but it's big to me. Christian McCaffrey has been nominated for MVP. Now, what's crazy is with all the injuries he suffered, he's still in the MVP race, but I think he's just a token horse because if it winds up somehow, some way that Matt Stafford does not win this MVP award. Only other person that could take the MVP award from Matt Stafford, only person that could take it away from Matt Stafford is possibly Sam Darnold. Possibly. Other than that, nah. They said, I hate Atlanta decision. I hate Dallas DC choice. I hate the Atlanta decision too. We talked about that on Tuesday a little bit. And I talked about Stefanski. I said, I don't really have any faith in Stefanski because he rubbed me the wrong way. But I also understand that he was in a situation where he did not get the shop for his groceries. I know. I'm paying attention to the wrong stuff instead of paying attention to what I'm saying. But he was in a situation where he didn't get the shop for his own groceries. Now, the question is he going to be able to shop for his groceries in Atlanta? And with Penix coming back off that knee injury, you got Kirk Cousins. But are you going to nurture Penix? That's the question I have for Stefanski. You can take your time bringing him back. You got Kirk in the building. Are you going to nurture Penix? Because you got Drake London and them guys. It could work. He says same can't get it. I don't think the defense and the running game are the catalyst. That's what everybody says. You got to play complementary football. And in this in this era, you have to play complementary football. And you were talking about the Dallas DC Christian Parker from the Eagles. Here's something that I like. When Dallas makes moves like this, when they hired Brian Schottenheimer, if you are familiar with the Temptations miniseries, when Dave Ruffin and Flynn was in the limo, and he said, Barry Gordy jumped up and was like, "Yes, David, yes." That's what I do when Jerry makes moves like this. Yes, Jerry, yes. I will applaud your toxic behavior all day long because it makes me so happy to see y'all lose. And I don't think it was a good choice, but who am I? Who am I? This is it's a Cowboys move. And one thing we always say on this show, as long as Jerry Jones is running the show in Dallas, they're going to continue to do what they do. And for those of you that are uninitiated, let me give you a little history lesson. When Dallas was winning their Super Bowls, that team, when Jerry Jones took over in 89, the first thing he did, first order of business, and this is where he cursed himself at, he fired the legend in Tom Landry. No, unceremoniously, matter of fact, he fired him. You bring in Jimmy Johnson. Okay, you go 1-15 in 89. 90, you do a little bit better. 91, I think you make the playoffs in 91. 92, you make it to the Super Bowl, win. After probably the greatest trade of all time in trading Herschel Walker. 93, you repeat. Win the Super Bowl again. But then you get drunk and you have words with your Super Bowl winning coach who pieced this roster together. You let him buy the groceries. He did it, but you were mad because you weren't getting the daggone kudos and the pats on the back. That's where it all died. Ego is what kills Jerry Jones and his business aspect. As far as selling the Cowboys brand, he is astronomically head and shoulders above the rest. As far as putting a winner on the field, he does not know what he is doing. One thing you have to do in business, whether it's sports, whether it's in the boardroom, whatever you're doing, you can be the richest man in the room, but you got to have the smart people working for you. Everybody in the room has to be smarter than you that you have working for them. He does not have football people working for him. He has yes men working for him, and that's why they make moves the way that they do. When you know a Troy Aikman is getting older, why not draft a quarterback? Never did. You bring in a Quincy Carter, a Matt Stoner, what's the dude? Drew Henson. You know, Emmitt Smith's getting older. You bring in Troy Hambrick. You never prepared for the future. If you would have kept the line going, Dallas would have never had 30 years of a fall off. You have bright spots here and there, but Dallas is messed up. And this D coordinator position, this hire right here proves how messed up they still are. I'm just calling a spade a spade. You can call me a hater. You can call me what you want to call me. Just don't call me too late to dinner. But this is the truth. This is the truth. I don't understand owners. Yes, you own the team, but I don't understand owners that meddle in football business when you don't have a football background, i.e. Jerry Jones, Daniel Snyder. He did it for a long time. Let the football guys do what they do. You worry about the business aspect. One thing about the late, great Jack Kent Cooke, he would tell Joe Gibbs how he felt. And then he'd say, in one instance, he told me, he said, well, shoot, I just got bought out of this company and I got $18 million and I don't know what to do with it on taxes. But I'm not going to hamstring you. I'm going to let you do what you do, but I'm just telling you what I think. And he left it alone. That's how you be an owner in sports. I'm going to tell you what I think, but I'm going to leave it alone. I don't want to, if I'm the owner of any sports franchise, I don't want to be on the phone in the war room making fake calls. I don't want to do none of that. I want to sit back in the corner. Hey, you guys good? Y'all got who y'all want? Okay. Just tell me how we need to work the money. We got it. But that's that. Then it says all facts, plus there was no salary cap when we were winning. I mean, what was that? 92 was the start of Plan B free agency. So, you had that. But The thing is, look at the players you got for Herschel Walker. Look at the draft picks and the players you got. You got those things, and they made it work within the structure, but you wanted to be in Dallas. Is the crazy thing. You wanted to be in Dallas because they were building something. They built that. They stripped everything down to the bare bones and built it up. And you built the dynasty only to mess up. You know Jay Novacek was getting older. You don't bring in a tight end of Tony Gonzalez or something like that. You bring in an Eric Bjornsson. What? You never replace the parts. They didn't replace they truly replaced Michael Irvin after his injury until they got Dez Bryant. That's that. But it's just, I don't get it. I don't get it. And J Dub checking in, he said, I'm a Cowboy fan. The Cowboys not win again until there's no longer a Jones running the team. And that's going to happen. Midnight Ride. What's happening, brother?
What's going on, man?
I'm in this thing just giving out history lessons waiting on you, man.
Hey, I heard you talk about the mentor thing. And I think Josh brought up a good fact is he's part of that Harbaugh tree, that family. So he's done stuff in and around, up and down with those guys. So I think it's only natural progression to go from Harbaugh to him. Plus, he's only 31, 32 years old. So
no, he's 42.
42?
42.
Okay, that's still good.
He's a young buck. He's a puppy.
Yeah, and that's
all they want when it comes to coaching.
That's all they want now. They want the youngest and shiniest.
You do realize why though?
No.
McVay, Shanahan.
Oh, yeah.
Because McVay and Shanahan were your boy wonders, and they had been. They're going to be your boy wonders. And Shanahan has been in 2 Super Bowls. McVay won a Super Bowl. So, the boss BJ say he said you a damn lie. You're gonna hear my mouth as owner. If you're gonna hear my mouth if I'm owner, and that's not a problem to hear your mouth, but don't hamstring the guys that are doing the job for you. Don't interfere to the point where you ruin relationships. Don't do that. Say your piece. But when it comes down to draft picks, I don't want my owner standing on the table telling me I should draft X, Y, and Z because he feels that that's who we should draft. But I don't want that guy. That guy's not going to work in our system.
Hey, B, did you send Mo the link to the studio? Because I know he said he was going to jump in with us tonight.
He recorded. I got his video already uploaded and ready to play.
All right. And then what about Jack? Because I know Jack said he was going to do one.
He hasn't sent the video. He's supposed to do a live check-in with us soon.
Okay.
Jack's on special assignment, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm over here playing catch up.
I got you. And B said, the boss said everyone should be working together. Yes, but working together does not mean interfering to the point that you mess everything up. That's what Jerry Jones has been doing for the last 30 some odd years. He's been interfering to the point where he's messing everything up. And Anthony said, who do you guys want them to hire as your OC? We already hired OC.
Yeah, it was David Shaw. The kid, they just did a signing in-house. We heavy football already. What else you open with? You open with the hiring of the Ravens coach.
Yes.
What else? Just tell me what I missed. Get me caught up so I can.
We talked about the hiring of Jesse Minter in Baltimore. Perry said about that being in-house, and we talked about that, and we talked about Stefanski being in Atlanta, and a lot of people don't like it.
Yeah, but I think that's a better hire than they think, especially if one Kirk Cousins is your starter on opening day. That's where Kirk had his best years, is in Minnesota with Stefanski, and that offense with Stefanski calling it. You got Bijan, Kyle Pitts, Drake London. You're gonna have a good offense. I think sometimes the problem in Cleveland was he just didn't have the parts. He didn't have the quarterback. You know, he had 13 quarterbacks in what, 4 years? One season he had 5, one season he had 4, and then I think another season he had 3. So I mean, you do the math. I mean, that's just not a good recipe for success in that city, period. And then your best receiver is Jerry Judy. Yeah. So I think him going to Atlanta is a win-win for Atlanta, and I think it's a win-win for him because I think he gets to fall back in the good graces of being an offensive-minded coach. I think the only thing he still has to shake a little bit is whatever people think about he was doing with Shador, whether they thought he was trying to sabotage him or not. That's really the only thing we got on that.
I think that's what I'm looking for. Are you going to do the same thing that pretty much got you ran out of Cleveland? But I said that about Brian Dable too. I said that was the thing with Brian Dable. He didn't have all the pieces he needed in New York. He didn't have a run game. His run game was Danny Dimes. Shouldn't have been. Stefanski didn't have a run game until he got Judkins, and then once Judkins got on the field, he got hurt, and that was the end of that run game. So he didn't really have everything he needed. I'll give him that.
Okay, I'm cool with that.
I don't want to. Go ahead.
I don't want a big Dable argument today, so I'll save that for later.
Okay, I got that. Let me ask you this real quick. We got Arizona, Las Vegas. Who else is open? Arizona, Las Vegas. I said something else, and I'm missing who it was.
You talking about the vacancies?
Yeah, as far as vacancies.
Well, let's say who got hired. Let's do it that way. Pittsburgh is still vacant. Buffalo still vacant. Las Vegas. And then the other one you said. But some's going to get filled.
Arizona.
Yeah. And one of those going to get filled in the next couple of days.
And Cleveland.
Yeah, I think Cleveland is going to be last minute because I think Cleveland, if they can't get who they want, I think their option is what's the defensive coordinator that's still there? You know who it is? The Titans' old coach. He used to coach Detroit.
Jeez, hold on.
I'm having a day now, so I ain't get settled.
I know you, but let me ask you a question, and I want you to give me while I'm looking this up. I'm gonna ask you a question. I want you to give me your honest answer. What's the job that really makes you sit up in your chair? Huh?
Jim Schwartz. That's
Jim Schwartz. Okay.
All right.
What's the job that makes you sit up in your chair right now?
Which one that has been filled, or the one that's
which vacant job that makes you sit up and say, you know what? I if I had a chance, I'd take that job.
I mean, I'd be the oddball. I had Cleveland higher than everybody else. I think Cleveland would be a decent job because you got Tom. You can bump in with Shador for a year or two, figure it out for him, and then go from there. And last season they had one of the best drives in team history. So boom. I mean, I say go with them. You got the defense. All you gotta do is add a couple pieces, add some receivers in. I think they're fine. A couple receivers in the D line, O lineman. I think they'll make some noise.
Okay.
Let's get Jack jumped in real quick.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, on the road. It's Jack Hall.
What's up, fellas? You hear me all right?
Yeah, you good. Well, you way better than last week.
Yeah, I'm set up here at the greeting desk over here at the front door. I got a little tripod set up. It's nice and still. Hey, practice makes perfect. You know what I'm saying?
for sure.
So what y'all up to?
So we just talked about just recently just some of the breaking news from the day. Um,
Hmm.
the new hires. We haven't gotten into the Nats making the trade with Gore. Um, and then that's it so far. That's all I got.
Okay.
All I caught up to.
Okay.
KG had a
Well,
couple of shots with the audience about some
okay.
things.
I'm back around the way. It feels pretty good being back around the old neighborhood. Bladensburg is currently leading Parkdale at the half, 32-22, but it's been a much closer game than that. Blade hit a couple late threes back to back that gave him that 10-point lead. Everybody's been so gracious and hospitable. Coach John Camara, the AD, Tiffany Clark, she's been amazing. And they promised me a tour of the facility next time I come out, man. It's my first time inside the new school. So, yeah, the gym is humongous. And like I say, it's pretty cool. And remember how I said this is a Riverdale rivalry for me? And it's funny, both teams got abbreviated names on their jerseys. Of course, Bladensburg says Blade, and Parkdale says Dale. So I think that's pretty neat. I'm gonna try to get a picture of a Parkdale player and a Bladensburg player standing side by side with those pretty cool uniforms. But other than that, man, this is something I'm really enjoying doing. And I just can't wait till some of the guys get their work schedule straight and can free up, and we can come out here as a group and just mob them. You know what I'm saying?
So what else you got on the schedule on the docket for the next 2 weeks? Don't you have another game you want to hit Saturday?
Nah, I was looking at something tomorrow down in Calvert County, Northern versus Great Mill. I'm not sure the kid's name, but I've been having media people tell me they got to get to a Great Mill game. There's a stud over there. So I want to get over there. Some of the games that I've been to recently, I've been to private school, I've been to public school, I've been to big public schools, I've been to little public schools. This one over here is right in the middle as far as the skill level and everything. Uh, Parkdale, I believe, is 2-9, and Bladensburg, I think, is 6-5.
Yeah, they were
So,
6-4 as of Monday.
right, right. So, and I met Coach Marshall. What a great guy! He sounds like he's ready to get this football program up and rolling. Everybody I've met that has something to do with the sports program over here, it's totally different. They got probably 5 to 6 new coaches this year. They had their inaugural flag football for the girls last year. That's
Right.
an event the Junkies definitely got to get out to as one of those flag football events. And it's during the same season as high school football. So just
Yeah.
networking, making friends.
Okay. Do you want to start off or kick off the Commanders rant for us, or
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about it on my ride over here, Midnight Rider. And you know me and notes and writing things down, but they're all scrambled up here, and it's just my thought for the season. I didn't like the injuries. Lost Armstrong on the defensive line early. He was having a humongous season. First 5 games this season, he had some good sack numbers. Terry being hurt and the lockout, that kind of messed up stuff, in my opinion. I think lockouts can really be a bad effect on a program. Um, and then he started showing up at camp and wasn't even participating. That made me a little mad too. Uh, I don't, I don't know where Washington wants to go with receivers. I'm picking up Debo is pretty all right, but I would have loved to see Debo and Terry together accelerating, and them Jaden getting hurt a couple times. You can't go out there and win stuff with backup quarterbacks. So health, got to stay healthy. What's up with the training staff there with the Commanders? Do they got something to do with this? There's a lot of ifs, and injuries killed the Commanders this year. A little bit of coaching killed the Commanders this year. Witt wasn't a big Witt fan. Uh, I just think Washington, they still need to improve on the defense side of the ball. I know I mentioned Dorian Armstrong, but we need more dominant pass rushers than that. And as Midnight Rider said before, You know, some of these D-backs and safeties, they all look good because they got a great pass rush. And he's exactly right. And it's tough for receivers to sit there and cover a guy for 8, 9, 10 seconds, you know? So I think Washington needs to I would take an edge rusher number one. I really would. And I'd take another one probably in the third round. I'm excited for the draft and I'm excited to do mocks, Midnight Rider. Can you believe JC's ready to do a mock?
That's 3 years in the making, baby.
I frowned on it the first year, second year, I mumbled about it, but now I'm ready to make a mock.
We'll get that schedule kicked out when we figure it out. I think we're gonna do 6 picks a show. You know how it goes. We'll figure it
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
Make it happen, man.
Yeah, I want to do another draft show where we stay up all night and drink coffee. Yeah, yeah. I want one of those. That was a blast.
We
We
were
got to
here
we got
for
to
four and a
let's
half,
open
5
up
hours.
our. What's that?
I said that was 4.5, 5 hours.
It was. My ass was sleeping. It was bad. But I think maybe we incorporate some of our guys, you know, our guys that we got from our shows. Bring them in for 45 and then kick them and bring another guy from our shows in. You know what I'm saying? I think that would be pretty cool.
You keep saying guys with emphasis. You also say some of the ladies too, because maybe we
Of
can get.
course, I was referring to how I say I got a guy. That's all I was
I know.
doing with guys. But yeah, some of our chickadees can come in too. I ain't got a problem.
So yeah. Um. Anything else you want to cover before we get out of here? Actually, if you remember your guest for Wednesday, let's knock that out. Let's give people a reminder who you got coming up this week.
Okay, yeah, I had to come up, and I'm gonna use another sports term. I had to throw a curveball. I had Lou Groza Award winner, University of Maryland kicker Brad Craddock was supposed to be scheduled. He had a death in the family and needs to take care of some business. But I got to reschedule him for the week after next. Not a problem. So we moved Coach Rich Houchins up. Rich he's won championships at Carroll. He's won championships at Eleanor Roosevelt. I want to say he's got 2 or 3 state championships at Eleanor Roosevelt. He stepped away from the game about 4 years ago to get
Right.
some health things taken care of. I mean, I think I can put it out there. He put it out there. He got, hip replacement, knee replacement, some things that can make him walk the sidelines better. And I think he's planning on a return soon. Maybe he'll announce that on in the passenger seat this week coming up. I look forward to talking to Coach.
All right, man. Well, keep doing what you're doing. I got I don't know if you remember this guy, the guy from MFVAI Sports. I think his name is Marvis or Mavis. He does the
I remember
recordings.
you.
He's been on the sidelines with you before.
Oh, you talking about Miller?
I don't know if that's his name. I don't want to get his name
All right,
wrong.
we'll talk more. I've been on the sidelines with a couple cats that know us because I introduce myself every time, in the passenger seat, Sideline Junkies Podcast Network, and sometimes people, oh yeah, I know junkies. I'm like, nah, we ain't them junkies, Slim. And he's like, no, I know y'all. So yeah, there's some cats out here that know us, and like I say, these media guys, they showing me the ropes because I broke some rules up at the state championship up at Navy Stadium. Media rules I break, but I wasn't never a rule follower anyway.
All right, man. Well, get back to it. Sound like the game started back up, and
Yeah, it sure did.
we'll catch up with you later, man.
All right, man, that right. I'll holler at you.
All right, man. Take it easy, man.
Thanks.
Bet. All right, guys. That was Gentleman Jack checking in from the Blade Parkdale game. If you haven't seen it lately, in the passenger seat, he has a bunch of videos posted from games that he does. We call it the field trip. So he's been interactive, doing a whole bunch of things. Um, so that's where we'll go with that. Let's see. We got some comments. Anthony, you're gonna have to help me out because I'll start with this, but you gotta tell me what you're talking about here. because David Shaw was the head coach in Stanford when Luck was there. He's got a pro style and a traditional offense. You're right. He comes off of he has links to the tree for Bill Walsh and company. So that definitely has those ties. I don't know if somebody said that or not. So I apologize for not knowing exactly where you got that question from. And then next up is the boss B, laughing because he said we ain't them junkies. He dang right, man, Eddie. Because the last thing we need is for somebody to come back to them and tell them, oh, they got your name, and then we got to deal with that mess. Because I don't feel like having to cuss nobody out. Um, see, let's go here. The Cowboys and Redskins have it to the extreme where you guys have owners who want to control everything and micromanage. But my Dolphins has an owner who really doesn't care about a winning product on the field. He cares about everything outside of football. Well, I mean, Stephen Ross with the allegations from Brian Flores talking about wanting them to tank. I get that information, and I definitely understand that. I think Miami's problem is just you haven't had the right answer at quarterback, and when you get things going, uh, your issue is that shoot, the last 2 times you were in the playoffs, you started like third string quarterbacks. So that's part of the problem for Miami right now. It's not being completely healthy when they get into it. Um, he says, I'm talking about your corner position. I thought your scheme is very spread, air raid. Our quarterback position. I thought your scheme was very spread air raid with Jayden. It's not a traditional air raid. We do a lot of horizontal. There are some very strong concepts, but now I think you can get a little bit of everything. I think you can get some of the under center bootleg West Coast stuff. This offense is not going to be defined by like a style. I think they're going to do a little bit of everything to get themselves in the looks and to try to manage the ball game better. Because I think there were times where the fast team to catch up and catch their breath. Just as much as it was hurting the teams they were playing, it was hurting them as well because they were getting off the field too soon. You know, you can't give up a 14 play drive and then go 3 and out and only waste like 20 seconds on the clock. I mean, you burn your defense out. And I think that happened a couple times where the offense didn't slow itself down and take care of the defense. It was always trying to stay in a hurry. And I think one of the things that kind of perpetuated that was once you got off of Mariota and you started Josh Johnson, I think that actually was part of the reason why Cliff got fired is because they showed with Johnson that they can be under center and they can do some things. It says, I like what Jeff Halfley and John Eric Sullivan said about they're going to focus on building the trenches and looking for a game manager at quarterback for now and focus on the running game and defense. I mean, I think everybody says the great thing. Everybody wins the press conference. It's only a couple times that I can think of guys like Adam Gase, uh, Jim Tom Sula. Those are kind of the guys I can think of that lost it in the press conference. But yeah, that's about it, man. It's just I think that combination happened because they were both in the same building back in Green Bay, and then they just stuck together. I think that conversation was had. Hey, if you get a job, I'm bringing you with me. I think that's how Halfley got the job, and he got it so quickly.
Well, let me ask a question to kind of segue into our topic for the night. With the Commanders, we don't have a D coordinator right now, right?
Right.
So Dario's putting his hat in the ring to get with the D coordinator position. Would you be okay promoting from in-house Ken Norton?
No, I don't think Ken wants the job anymore. I think Ken's just he wants to be a position coach. He doesn't want that headache and that pressure. of being the guy. I think what we got to realize is we had 7 coaching jobs come open early in the cycle, right? Then you trick it out, and each of the last 3 weeks, somebody else has gotten fired. So now you've put situations that would have been solved a couple of weeks ago, but now they're also hindered by the playoff hiring rules, where you can't interview a guy to a certain point in time. So that's caused a logjam because guys like Schwartz, guys like that type of guy had to wait. The defensive coordinator in Atlanta, Ulbrich, he had to wait because they weren't going to learn about his contract until they got they saw who the head coach was. And there's a nice little video of the two coaches, Stefanski and Ulbrich, debating like who's going to get rid of their beard because they look too much alike. So that, I mean, I hope that answers your question. But I think the Commanders fans in this situation have to be patient because there's so many other dominoes that have to fall first. I think you can position yourself with somebody you want. Maybe that's Al Harris, who they interviewed today. Maybe that's the kid from the Seattle Seahawks, but you got to wait on him. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on, and it's not the same. Don't compare the OC search to this search because it's 2 different searches. And It's 2 different motives behind the search.
I'm gonna say this to you. I'm gonna go ahead and throw my hat in the ring for not only defensive coordinator, but I'm gonna see if I can get the Cleveland Browns job. And I mean, it would only be right if I get the Cleveland Brown head coaching job. I mean, can you dust off your play sheet and come on up?
I gotta call Jeff because the coach made that prioritized material, so I gotta get permission to uncork that and bring it back out.
All right, man. I'm just checking
from his stint with the Indianapolis Colts.
All right, now break this down. Commander's Couch. How we gonna do this tonight? How we gonna roll with this?
Let's get. I mean, I know we got a video from Mo, so let's get Mo's point of view. Because for us, I mean, since it's the 2 of us sitting here, we can just go back and forth with our point of view. If anybody else wants to jump in, any Commanders fans that want to sit on the couch and air your grievances, let me know. We'll shoot you the link, and then you just hop in with us and say how you felt.
All right, let's move us to the side, and let's get this video rolling. And this is Mo, Commanders fan.
All right, before I head out for my anniversary, shout out to my wife, Erica, I'm married 11 years. Before I would go out for this dinner, I gotta air my grievances. But before I get to the negative stuff, I want to just talk about the positives of, the rough season we've had. From the Jeremy Reeves, because when he came in, that boy made an impact. He showed you, why he was a Pro Bowl in special teams, and he should probably get a little bit more burn on next season at safety. A little bit more burn. He proved himself to be solid. The list is pretty short. Krosky married, Bill. He's looking promising. Gonna need another back though, but he's looking promising. I think that might be it for the, for the positives for this season. It was a rough season. Now, to the negatives, or to my actual problem that I have is what did we do with those picks that we traded Chase Young and we traded Montez Sweat for? I think we got Benson, who hasn't done nothing, and if I'm not mistaken, I think the other pick was the second or was it the third? I'm not sure. I think it might be Jazeer Newton, or was it Luke McCaffrey? It's one of them. Luke is low key my favorite, because I just like a nice little underdog story, and I like his whole family. But Newton did alright, did the end of the season this year. He did alright. So my thing was, with all those picks that we traded, those guys should at least kept one of them. Should have at least kept Sweat, because what is our number one problem? Pass rusher. where we going to year 3 now, right? Since we got rid of him, so we still don't. Our biggest gap is pass rushing. So we already know with that 7 pick, man, Bailey or Bain gone off the board easily because that's a team need. So those are my first things I got. That's organizational, and then with Adam Peters, it's like, all right, you did all that and made that splash, traded all these guys, but it's like those picks haven't turned out to be anything impactful. Actually, we still have the same gap. So now we know this year we got to be heavy on defense, and we also gonna need another legit wide receiver because I know Debo not coming back. I mean, he was solid, but I'm just tired of seeing passes behind the line of scrimmage, and then hopefully he can make a move here and there, So that was that. So we need a wide receiver immediately, like an impactful. And I'm not sold on Brandon Ayuk. When was the last time he played? That's a big risk. But I would like to see, a new number 2, I should say. Terry's still the legit number 1. We're gonna need that. But as far as the hiring of was Bilal, I like it in the sense of Jaden doesn't have to go through like a whole new offensive coordinator in the sense of learning a new playbook and doing all that nonsense. Because what we've went through as Redskins or Commanders fans is we've heard Jason Campbell had an offensive coordinator every year, and RG3 had this many offensive coordinators, and they're like have to learn new stuff and new systems, whatever. So that's why I'm on board with this Bilal move. I'm like, it's not too far, and I'm hoping he's more aggressive, like kind of like playing calling, like when you watch the Packers play, right? They're going for chunks. Their play designs and everything. They'll run, they'll do their short, but then they're going for chunks. Like they're going for 10, 15, 20 yarder. Last year, all we saw was screens. I mean, even though JD didn't play too much, so I'll give him that. I give him grace in that sense, but it's like I wasn't a fan of that. That's why I'm cool with Debo leaving because I mean technically that's all Cliff had to work with was a receiver of that type because there was a point he was basically our number 1, and if your number 1 is just good at screens and gadget plays, you're kind of fucked, So. Yeah, that's I'm a fan of the hire, so I like where that's going. We still need to, obviously solidify that defensive coordinator. Just give me a dog, somebody that's going to attack, but personnel's going to matter. So this draft is going to have to be defensive heavy, We're going to have to address a pass rusher. We're going to have to address some safety help. I like our corners. Maybe we could add another one. Definitely. I mean, Bobby Wagner's cool and all, but we need to start thinking about our future linebackers. Like, who's going to be that guy, But with all that said, I'm still looking forward to next season because I'm a diehard fan. I'm really not as mad because I still got a little remnants of the year when we went to the national championship to the conference championship. So that tempered me down a little bit, my anger down. I'm still giving y'all a chance next year, to prove me that this past year was just injuries, But HCTR forever, man. Thanks for having me, fellas. Love y'all. Peace.
That's what's up, man. That was I keep messing up his name because I just looked down and saw Anthony's name. That was Mo giving you his thoughts on the Commanders season. Part of the therapy session that is this Commanders couch. Should have brought me a notebook and a pen and do my Brian Gumble whenever people start talking.
Let me jump in there real quick because I felt, I'm gonna tell you something. I felt a little attack by Mo there, and this is all in love because I say that all the time about these young kids. Don't matter if you're in Washington, it don't matter what building you in. When you got a young quarterback and he has to get a new coordinator every year, every other year. He has to keep learning offense. We call that Jason Campbell. We say that all the time around here, and I've been saying it for the past almost 8 years now. So is the boss BJ, but that's how I feel. I don't want my young quarterbacks to go through that. So,
you do know Jalen Hurts has been in 5 offices in 5 years, right? I'm just asking. Did you know?
No, I didn't actually. I'm being honest with you. I did not know.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, this will be his 5th.
Well, I guess, I mean, if I can ask you a question, your bright spots for the Commanders this past season.
I'm gonna say one thing before I start with my bright spots. Every time I watch this team play, I never felt like they had the same energy from the year before. Like the way they would, like the year before, if a team went down and scored 7 on us, we put together a 10-play drive and get the 7 back, or we'd get 3. But then the next time we touch the ball, we might go and get 7. Like this offense never seemed unstoppable to me at any point. Whereas the year before, whether it was Cincinnati, those 3 weeks where they didn't punt at all, it just seemed like it was clicking. And I don't know what that was, but it just wasn't the same. And I noticed that from week 1. Like I said that even when they were playing the Giants, I was like, normally this team will respond now, and they didn't. And I just was like, all right, maybe it'll happen this time. And I was like, no, it didn't happen then. And then the Green Bay game was a mollywhopping. But you asked me about positives, so I'm gonna try to stay on note and on key. Bright spots, Krosky Merritt. I thought he gave you something that you didn't expect from a 7th round running back. And I think if he didn't have the fumbles, he would have had 1,000 yards this year. But I think that's one of the struggle. Bright spot, Chris Rodriguez, for a guy that was an afterthought, for him to put himself in the kind of shape he got into to play this year, and he played some good minutes. So that's another one that he may not have been perfect, but I think if you have your starting quarterback, again, you can hide some of the warts that's out there. I think we started seeing some things in the punt return game from Jayden. I thought you saw something in the kick return game from Luke. So I think those were all good options and good things. And I think those are things that they can build on. I think from a return standpoint, they'll be fine on specials. I think they just got to keep people healthy. Bobby Wagner, if he comes back, I hope it's a limited role, and I hope you let McGee. And I'd say let's draft another linebacker to get some more speed and youth in there. I like the kid Audi Kalu, but the only problem with Kalu is Kalu doesn't have regard for his body, so he ends up knocking himself out or knocking somebody out. And I don't know if that's always the best thing. We gotta get him a little control on like when to hit people and when not to. Because you want a long career, you don't want to flame out in 3 years because you done knocked yourself out of the league. What else? What else did I like? I think that's it, really. I think he touched on something early about the holdout and the lock in and how that had an issue or created issue. And I think it might have. I think it could have been a thing because I think it caused a problem. And TJ, I see your comment. Do you want to jump in? And I can send you the link if you want in. And you want to say it instead of typing it up. But yeah, the offense struggled early on because I think they struggled because of that, and because I think guys had to think, like, if you treat him like that, how are you treating me? how are you going to treat the guy that you think is your franchise? You treat him one way, and then I don't know. So I think that's something. And while I'm on that topic, I'll go ahead and hit Terrence's comment. He says, "I'm gonna say something that some may consider a hot take. Terry holding out and getting bad advice from his agent and circle jacked up the continuity of the offense and doomed the offense from the get go." I would, but you know what, TJ, I see that, but I give it there's two other things involved there. That line wasn't completely healthy to start camp. So, Cliff had that one presser where he talks about not having people's feet on the grass and not spending enough time on the grass. And I think that is exactly what hurt them, was because they didn't spend enough time on the grass early on, because they didn't get those things locked in. I think the continuity was off the whole time. And it stayed off. It was like they never could get that that thing to make it work out right. You know what I'm saying? What was your positives, KG?
Well, if I had to go to my positive, I gotta agree with you. Bill Krosky Merrick was he's one of the bright spots on this team for 2025. I agree with what Terrence is saying, man. Like, Terry holding out messed up a lot. And what Mo said about Debo, yeah, we didn't have the same depth of talent. It wasn't a well of talent, I felt, this season. And you said something that made hella sense. We didn't play the same way we did in 24. You know, we regressed to the point that we played like the 1994 Redskins, where our punter is the best player on the team. It's Tress Wade now, but back then it was Matt Turk. Only Pro Bowler we would have every year is Matt Turk. We didn't have, and I know I'm supposed to be talking about the positives. We lost Austin Eckler early. I didn't like losing him early, but it happens. The receiving room, we didn't have De'Ami Brown. He was gone. Luke got hurt. Olamide Zaccheaus went to Chicago. And we lost a lot in the receiver room. It just didn't how you say it? It's a Luther curl. It just didn't quite curl over. But another positive was that tight end room. I thought we had a really, really great tight end room. And I'm like, I think we're solid at tight end at least for the next 2 to 3 years. And that's just being generous and saying 2 to 3 because it could be longer. But for the next 2 to 3 years, I think we're good.
I think you have to get a receiving tight end to replace Ertz, even if that's just what he does. And that could come in the form of a draft pick. It could come in the form of signing a tight end free agent like Isaiah Likely, somebody that can just help the QB out. And just, I don't know if he's making his screen debut, but gotta give a shout out to my boy. They call him the He-Manimal. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Known this dude for a long time, man. Been trying to get him on the show. Glad he can give us some time. Right now, we just talking about the positives from the Commander season. I know you run the Facebook group, the Command Center.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the group does a lot of good stuff. They do a lot. They do some get-togethers. But give me your thoughts, man. What you think?
I would say you could definitely consider the offense a positive, seeing as how they didn't have much to work with this season, dealing with all the injuries and everything. For the offense to be what, fourth in the league in rushing.
Yep.
Finished the league fourth in the league in rushing. And that's basically without Jaden. I mean, because you consider how much Jaden played. He played in a total of 7 games, but maybe he completed maybe 4. And for them to still be fourth in the league in rushing without without a real feature back. I mean, it was a running back by committee with McNichols and Bill and Rodriguez, but still, I mean, most of that is quarterback runs too. But here's the ironic thing: if you take the quarterback runs out of it, that offense that was fourth in the league in rushing goes down to 22.
Yep.
So as good as we say the rushing game was, there's still something lacking in the running game. Like there's not that back that you can lean on. I don't know if it's Bill. It could be if he gets the fumbles corrected, but there's still something lacking in that running game. Maybe it's the scheme of the blocking. Maybe that's why they let it. Maybe that's why they let go of the O line coach. Who knows? Maybe there was a clash in there. That's maybe another reason why Cliff isn't here no more. He wanted the focal point to be the passing game, and Dan Quinn is still old school, thinking that the run game is the way to go. Um, but maybe it's also a thing of where it may have gotten to the point where Cliff wants to do things one way, Dan wants to do things another way, and maybe Dan felt like the way Cliff wanted to run things will be a hindrance on Jaden's development. So you bring in a guy like Blau, who, as many people want to think that his offense is just going to be like Cliff's, I think he has more of an influence from Kevin O'Connell and Ben Johnson. So you might see more of that offense. You might see more Jaden under center. You might see more of the run to set up the pass. Using play action to get more people open. So, and it's funny because a lot of the trick plays that you may have seen Detroit do, or even going back to Blau's days when he played at Purdue. I mean, a lot of those trick plays that he incorporates, they actually work and work well to the point where you seen people running wide open, nobody around them, like free runners. I mean,
Yep.
it could be the tight end. Nobody's within 15 yards of that tight end catching the ball down the field. So and maybe that's what they can use to unlock Senate, because I seriously doubt Zach Ertz is back this year
Right. Totally agree.
because of that injury.
Let me
Um,
let me ask you this, because there's a run that sticks out, and I truly think this was uh where did Bill break that run up the sideline? Was that Dallas?
that
The
was the
second Dallas?
Cowboys. That was Cowboys.
That run to me, I think it kind of sealed. That was another one of those situations where Dan looks at the offensive line and they're going downhill, they're attacking, they're not waiting. And I think they want to be more of an attacking line. They want to do some gap, they want to do some duo. And I think that's more of David's lane, because you talk about the Ben influence and the Kevin influence, as opposed to some of the stuff they were doing with Cliff. And I think that's where they struggled. And I think the other thing they struggled with too, in all honesty, was when you got down to your third, fourth, fifth receiver, um, those guys were terrible in the run game in terms of blocking. And
Definitely.
that the corners just got to shoot up and make plays because they didn't have to worry about getting beat. And secondly, they weren't getting blocked. So there were a couple times, especially the first Cowboy game, where you just could see that the play had no chance because they couldn't get to the outside. They couldn't get to where they was trying to get to.
I mean, anytime you go into a game with Robbie Chosen and Chris Moore as your top receivers and thinking that the defense is going to be scared of them, I'm sorry, you're not doing anything.
Exactly,
I
exactly,
mean, and to make an offense even work with that, I mean, I don't know what more you wanted him to do.
exactly. So before you get out of here, give me two things. Um, your plan or your kind of your thoughts for next season, and then what are we doing with the defense coordinator? You can do that in any order.
So let's go DC first. Um, I think right now, They just interviewed Al Harris,
Right.
the passing game coordinator from the Bears. They just interviewed him. I for some reason I still think they holding out to interview Raheem Morris.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about. I mean, I'm not sure about that one because he's a name, but his defenses haven't really done much to me. I mean, unless you're just looking for a middle of the pack defense based on what your offense can do, I guess. But I mean, most of his defensive numbers have been in like the low teens, high mid 20s.
Right.
I mean, I
Exactly.
doubt I doubt that's what you want as a defense. Someone that's an intriguing name to me is Carl Scott. He's the DB coach for the Seattle Seahawks.
Right.
Um, I think getting him in could possibly bring over a few of the Seattle DB free agents like Tariq Woolen. Um, maybe a couple of other corners and safeties, maybe to pair up with someone like Trey Amos and Mikey Sanders still. Because truth be told, yes, Mikey had a bad year, but he's really like the only ball hawk you have on the defense.
Right.
I mean, they had a total of 7 or 8 interceptions, and Mikey had 4 of them.
Yep.
So as bad as he played, I think that was more about the scheme than it was the actual player.
I think it's also the
Um,
like a pass rush.
so you're looking at Scott, you're looking at Harris. I think Jonathan Gannon could be an option. Surprisingly, I think I can't think of his name. Patrick Graham. He was the former defensive coordinator for the
Raiders.
Raiders. Um, More known for his time with the Giants. I think he could be an option as well. Um, I think it's gonna be a thing of where you might have to wait until probably after the Super Bowl for news to happen on that front. But we'll see. As far as next season goes, well, the first thing to look forward to is the new uniforms that'll be unveiled. Um,
You got that
that'll
on
be
tape.
coming probably sometime before the draft,
So
hopefully.
so you had this in
Um,
authority or
I
is this
think
a
it's going
hunch?
to be a thing of where they try to incorporate more of the Roman aspects of the name Commanders. You've basically been seeing that throughout all the last season, where they've been incorporating more of the Roman Empire themes with the team. So I think that the Super Bowl era uniforms that they debuted last year, that's basically going to be the white jersey portion of it. They'll probably add a burgundy jersey to that. Probably get a throwback jersey that'll be featuring the spear. Um, so that'll be something to look forward to. Then as far as the draft, I actually think they might be a trade back candidate to acquire more picks because even though they traded for Laramie Tunsil, that gave up their second and fourth round pick this year. But I'm sorry, Tunsil was good enough to where that trade
It's a
was
plus.
worth it.
Yeah.
But I can see them trading back not far from the top 10, maybe down to 10. Maybe the Chiefs can come up from 9 to 7 to try to get a maybe try to take Jeremiah Love or something like that. Um,
Sound like you watched the show,
but
man.
they need to acquire more picks. They need some more swings. They definitely need some more swings in the batter's box. So I can see them trading back, and depending on how free agency goes, if they want to spend some of that money that they're gonna have in free agency, because Lattimore's not coming back. We can pretty much put that on the board. That's gonna save them close to $20 million right there. So they could have anywhere between 80 to $100 million in free agent in cap space.
Right.
Um, a couple other moves that can make. I can see Deron Payne getting traded from anywhere between a third to a fifth round pick, depending on the team. Um, Maybe Andrew Wiley gets moved. Um,
I think he's a free agent.
so there's moves that they can make where they can have anywhere between like I said, 80 to maybe even 110, 120 million in cap space. So this roster is going to look totally different next year. Totally different. I mean, you had a lot of guys on 1-year contracts anyway. So this roster is going to look totally different. How the team looks next year is mainly going to depend on who they hire as a defensive coordinator and if they can get anything out of the defense. If they can get anything out of this defense to look even remotely good, like they are actually pros,
Right.
then we could be cooking with something. If
Okay.
not, we're going to be right here next year wondering who our coach is going to be, wondering who the OC is going to be, wondering who the DC is going to be,
Yep.
possibly wondering who the general manager is going to be.
I can't.
We'll
I
see.
don't think you can do that.
I don't think Peters is going anywhere because he came in and inherited a mess anyway. But that could be on the table as well. So it's all going to depend on who that DC hire is and just how everything meshes in the off season and going into next season, because Quinn cannot run a soft camp.
Right.
He cannot afford to run a soft camp this year. All them vet days and we're going to take it easy this day, we're going to take it easy that day. Doing all that didn't work. I mean, this is football. We gotta go ahead and get everybody ready to play. So that's what's going to determine how this next season is going to go.
All right. I lied because I do have one more question. I want to double back to what you just said about the jerseys. So you
Oh,
think they're
did you
going to
go
do
on
away?
mute? I can't hear you. If you
Can you
go
hear me
on
now?
mute, I can't hear nobody.
We had this problem the other night. Let's do this. Go ahead, KG. Give your thoughts.
Well, I love what Turn said. I with Lattimore can't come back. I feel like BJ with Josh Norman. If you need me to drive the U-Haul to wherever the hell you going, I'll drive the U-Haul. Like I'm down for it. They say you traded to Las Vegas. All right, load this U-Haul up. Get them up out of here. As a former defensive back, I think we have a problem in the defensive backfield because we don't have corners and safeties. Because if you're going to have corners and safeties that play the way that our corners and safeties played in 2025, you better have yourself a monster pass rush up the middle. You better have Deacon Jones on one side with LT rushing from the other side. You better have such a pass rush. The corners are sitting back there on the island because you're never going to get the ball off type thing. It's not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love in the first round, we got ourselves a defensive stud that could change the game with his play and actually came in, worked hard, and was an impact, not just his rookie year. I don't want a Javon Curse. I need somebody that plays like that every year for the next 10 to 14 years. Well, I'm talking double-digit sacks guaranteed, and we are in the top 5 every year on defense. I know I'm asking for a lot, but that's what I like.
Let me ask you this. Mel Kiper just came out with his first mock draft for the season. He has the Commanders taking Miami edge Reuben Baines Jr. with the 7th overall pick. What you think about that?
I'm down with it because he's a disruptor. I watched him in that national championship game, and the way he shed blocks and the way he sliced through holes about this big where it's just a sliver of light and he sliced through it to get to the backfield. I would like that. Only thing we got to do, we got to baptize and get that Miami, convict stuff up off of them. Baptize them right in D.C. But, we'll get Doc Walker to baptize them. But other than that, I would love to have him. I agree with what you said about Deron Payne because I always said Deron Payne should have been the one gone, not Jonathan Allen. And I got a big problem with the defensive line because I had such high hopes for this defensive line because of having Von Miller coming in We got Kinlaw. Who else did we get? I'm a big Eddie Goldman fan. Like Eddie Goldman's my guy because his dad is somebody that I wouldn't be sitting here if it wasn't for his dad, because I used to talk sports with his dad all the time, close friends. And you know, so I'm a big Eddie Goldman fan. Been a fan of his since he was at Friendship. You know, I watched from high school all the way through the championships at Florida State to the, you know, through the NFL. But defensively, we got to do something because Kinlaw didn't pay dividends this year. Johnny Newton, when he was healthy, I'm with it.
Here's the problem with Newton with two things real quick. I don't think anybody really understood how much the Dietrich Wise injury hurt. Because he was one of them guys. He really wasn't going to give you much on the pass rush, but he was going to definitely set that edge in the run game. So that injury hurt. Number two, I really don't think that this coaching staff understood how to play Johnny Newton. Because
Agreed.
how do you wait until the second Dallas game to finally play him at 3 technique, the same position that he played at Illinois that garnered him all the attention that he got, that would have made him a first-round pick, that was supposedly going to make him a first-round pick in the draft. And you wait till, the 14, 15 game of year 2 to play him at 3 technique, and you see what he produced, 7 tackles, 9 tackles, 3 sacks, 5 tackles for a loss. I mean, how do you wait that late into the second year of the season to finally play him at the right position? So it's like that automatically tells me this coaching staff is relying on the scheme instead of putting players in their best position to make plays.
Agreed.
Oh boy, you gonna have now UNK? Okay.
So, I don't know. I mean, it's a lot that needs to happen this offseason, but it's a lot that's gonna happen. It's a lot that should happen, and I'm just excited to see where it goes.
We can't go into 2026 with Percy Butler as strong safety. Now, I know Mo was talking about Jeremy Reeves. Jeremy Reeves is a special teams guy for me. I've never seen him as a starting safety, but he proved me wrong. I will say that he proved me wrong. But we can't go into the season Percy Butler and Quan Martin as your starting safeties, or Jeremy Reeves. We can't go into the season like that. We need somebody. We need somebody else. We need something. We need a safety that's a hybrid who can play in the box, but can also cover as well. I mean, everybody's not going to be sideline to sideline. I'm cool with that. But we need corners that can actually play man, play zone, and not get burnt by mediocre receivers. It seems like I'm an old school Redskin fan, so I'm historic. It seems like whenever you need a play, you just pick on a Washington cornerback and you're gonna get the first down. You know, back in the day, it was like, okay, Darryl Green on the left, I'm gonna pick on the corner on the right. I'm gonna get this first down. And I don't want to live in that anymore. I want to get out of that. I want to have a corner. If I got one corner that's locking one side down, I'm okay with that. But we have no lockdown corners. We have no hard hitting safeties. Nothing. These guys they can't tackle. No, nothing. We got to figure out what's going on in the secondary.
I think
the right coach will make that happen.
I think the other injury that people forget about is the one to Harris, the safety. Because I think if you watch the last part of the season, he was another reason why that defense, especially the secondary, played much better. It's because he was putting people in the right position. He was getting them set up right. So I think Quan has to either be the third safety or he has to be gone. I think you have to bring in somebody to be your free and go with that. I think Reeves showed you he can play it. I think another year of the Owens kid. So I think you're going to have some things and some options. Before we get out, anything else you want to say or make sure you get across, because we got to get to the baseball news and then try to get out of here. Terrence, I don't think you can hear me.
You
KJ?
can you hear me, Terrence?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. You got anything else before we switch gears and get out of here?
I think the last thing I want to say is something about the new stadium.
Okay.
I'm just a big fan of how they designed the new stadium. I just can't wait to see how it really looks when it opens, and I just like the renderings that came out. That's all. That's all.
All right, man. Well, thanks for coming out. I don't know if you can hear me. Let them know.
He said, "Thanks for coming out, Terrence. Appreciate you. I love what you said about the stadium because everybody told me it wasn't possible, and now it's almost close. I've been saying it for 5 or 6 years. It's beautiful.
can't
It's
wait.
holy. It's magnificent.
It is, and the wild part about it is, if you notice some of the other stadium renderings that have come out recently, like Tennessee and Cleveland, what's that, Buffalo, all of them pretty much look the same, except for all the inside looks the same. The outside maybe have a couple of bells and whistles the other stadiums don't have. This stadium here, the Commanders' new stadium, is so DC. It's so DC. It fits in perfectly with the area, so I just can't wait to see it finished.
Hopefully, it looks exactly how the renderings go. So that's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
It's been fun, guys. Man, I appreciate y'all having me on here. Hopefully, we can do it again soon.
Of course, appreciate you coming.
All right, fellas.
I
All
know.
right, man.
That Midnight Rider, you said you got some MLB news, but go ahead.
No. Before we get to the MLB news, just it's funny what he was saying because he said a lot of good stuff. Now I see, he fits more with you than he does with me. So I got to make sure I get some backup on the next couple of shows. Y'all got that old school mentality, and I
Hey,
ain't want to
look,
miss somebody who's in the show because when y'all were talking about corners, I remember a couple years ago. I used to call a play. I used to say the offenses had a play called Hot 26, and that's where all you do is come out the huddle and locate Josh Wilson, and that's where you go.
and
So
Josh Wilson was my guy.
I used to talk so bad about him. Lee Ice could tell you, boy. That was one dude that I'm glad I didn't have a show when he was playing with us because I might have gotten some threats.
Basically, how I was with Josh Norman.
Yes.
Gotcha. I guess we go to the MLB news because I'm good, man.
Yeah. We good on that part.
Right.
Dang, I wish I had a chance to upload the picture. So basically, the MLB news is the Washington Nats actually made a move today. They traded Mackenzie Gore to the Texas Rangers. In return, they received 5 players. When you look at the return, do me a favor and understand that the return you're looking at and the numbers you see beside these players' names is their team ranking. So like somebody might be the number 2 prospect, but he's the number 2 prospect in the Rangers organization. But he might be the 35th or the 45th prospect in the top 100 for baseball. So it should be like 2 numbers besides some of these players' names when you look at the rankings. Sometimes they'll do 2, sometimes they'll be lazy and just do the rankings that they have inside their organization. So that's one thing as a fan I want you to look at and understand what you're seeing. The second thing is they get a young pitcher who can. The way I heard it today was he's got 3+ pitches and he's got plus control. If he can be healthy, he's going to be, or he could be, a second or third starter, right? The shortstop that they got, he was drafted this past season, number 12 overall. He can actually, I think they say he's 6'3", 200 pounds. So the mold and the fit has him playing more shortstop than more third base than shortstop. So that's another thing to keep an eye on. And then you got the other 3 guys are kind of like wild cards. The last of the 3 is a first baseman or DH. So keep your eyes out on that. But that's a situation that's something you might want to just keep your eyes on, because he could possibly be up this season, like sometime in the middle of the year playing with this team. So could the pitcher, I think his name is Rosario. But just a couple things to keep your eyes on. But the Nats did actually make a trade today and actually got a player, got some players back. All I gotta say is, you guys, be ready for 2028, because the way these teams are building in this area, I mean, the Commanders have a chance to turn around next year, but for this upcoming season. But the Wizards and the Nationals, you might get some huff and puff out of the Wizards in 2027, but 28 might be the year where it all has to come together. Because I don't know, man. I'm not optimistic too much right now.
When's the last time we had that in DC where we were firing, all 4 cylinders were firing? I mean, I do remember a point in time where we had a 2-3 year stretch and I was sipping the Kool-Aid and
You were.
I'm hanging out the window talking about Title Town USA, and here you are holding my shirt talking about, get your ass back in here. You and BJ, man, because you had the Nats, the Caps, the Mystics, the Washington Valor. We had 4 championships within the span of like 2 years.
Yep.
And I was like, this is Title Town USA. We're winning everything. All we got to do is get everybody else on board. We're doing everything. And y'all was like, get your ass in here, sit down and close that window.
You're embarrassing us. No.
But when's the last time we actually had that? Honestly, I mean, all jokes aside, when's the last time we actually had that where we were firing on all cylinders?
Think about it. You never had that because baseball didn't get here until 2005. So their peak was, the best year was probably 2012. Because 2012 you had the run by the Redskins, and you had the World Series run.
Yeah.
Of course, they lose Game 5 of the finals to the Cardinals in heartbreaking fashion, that divisional series. But you also have the Redskins. Excuse me, the Redskins lose in that same stretch to Seattle, and that's kind of when like the window closed. And then 2019, was that the Kirk year where we had a winning end and they didn't win it in with New York?
I believe so.
And then 19, of course, you had the Nats win it all. But it's been some lean years.
Yeah, and I'm looking at it, and you had the Caps. Let's not leave out the Caps, because the Caps had their runs with Bruce Boudreau, where they were one of the most exciting teams in the NHL, but they just couldn't get over the hump. They could outscore everybody during the regular season, but couldn't get over the hump in the playoffs. And then all of a sudden, they get over the hump. They in there. But last year we had to run with the Commanders going all the way to the NFC Championship game. And I agree with what you're saying. 27, 28, it's going to look real good, especially if the Wizards keep doing what they're doing and don't mess up.
And here's something that Terrence said, and I didn't know how well he heard me, so I didn't want to comment if he couldn't hear my mic for some reason. That's the second time that's happened. I gotta figure out what's going on. But the stadium design. I don't know if you noticed, but look at the side view of the stadium again. Because the side view of the stadium, if you look at the pillars, they look like more like pillars into a coliseum. So when he said they may be leaning into that more of that Roman Empire image, it made a ton of sense. Because they have used the spear, they do have that those images with them holding the spear and like looking like it's in the catacombs or something like that. So I can see that being something they lean into. And then the other thing, I think you get, if memory serves me correctly, and I got to go back to NFL rules for this, but I think they give you 3 helmets. So the question would be and what I wish he could have heard me ask him was, if you go do a burgundy feature, because I think I think they love the black. I don't care what nobody else thinks. I think they love the black. I think they love the Super Bowl edition. They may tweak the helmet a little bit to make it a little truer to what we're used to, but I think that's going to get a tweak, and I think the burgundy gets a tweak at some point. And I don't know if they do a Super Bowl edition, and we're just wearing Super Bowl editions for home and away, and then for 4 games of the season we wear the black as the throwback or the whatever it's called.
I'm gonna tell you this: the renderings they have of this new stadium, and I said it when I first saw it. It gives a futuristic RFK vibe with the scoop in the middle, like what is that called? Cantilever is what it's called, and that's the way RFK was the first of its kind, but it became quote unquote one of the cookie cutter stadiums because everything was modeled after. Same thing with Camden Yards in baseball. Right. Everything was modeled after it was built. But I'm gonna say this: it's not overly big. It's just right. And I said this years ago. I said, if you build a stadium on the RFK site, you have to add a feature into this stadium where that lower bowl in the end zone rocks. You have to have that in there.
There's gonna be some variation of that, trust and believe, because these are old school fans. Like, I think the one thing we keep forgetting is, like, this group has a plan. They're not just throwing everything together as they go to cover up for some other stuff or cover up from this issue. They have a plan in place, and they're going to execute their plan to the best of their ability. So that's why you're seeing the things you're seeing. You're seeing the steps that they're taking. So this isn't going to be rushed together. It's not going to be pieced together. Like, they've thought this out, and they know what the financial gain would be from this if they get it right. So early on, I think there's going to be tailgating, as they transition. Because I don't know if people remember, but at 2005, there wasn't, you had better views around Nats Park. But as time went on, you started getting building here, building there. And you kept getting cranes and things of that nature. And that's when it got built up. And what the city has to do is be patient and let them build the stadium in, and then start filling in the other pieces around it. And if you'll see, in like 5 to 10 years, you'll have another place similar to Nats Park where people can go and have fun and experience the stadium experience. Because you have that experience going along with what you have at Nats. And if the Nats ever just decided to win, you know how much they have down there already? You already got government buildings, you got people down there, and all they got to do is walk across the street to the game. Like, they're missing out on so much. And I know 2020 killed them, but they missed out on so much that they could have taken advantage of. They could have had this city by the throat if they just did things better. So hopefully today's a step in the right direction. But I wanted to make sure I got that in. There are other moves in baseball, but I want to talk about the Nats before we got out of here because we at 1:35. So I know the boss is ready for us to get this party over with. All right, folks. So for Terrence J, for Mo, for the big guy KG, I'm the Midnight Rider. Thank you for joining us on this edition of the Commander's Couch. Hopefully, we want to do this ever again or anytime soon. With that being said, Saturday morning, Gridiron, 11:30, WrestleManiacs at 9, Sunday Rise at 11. Hop in with your boys, join us. Have some fun because we're gonna have a lot of fun talking about the three different things we got going on. With that being said, good night and enjoy your evening. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Nothing But Net. It is C. Perry. I am the Midnight Rider. This is Nothing But Net. We're going to take you around the association in 30 minutes. This is the Sideline Junkies Podcast Network. And then if you missed this episode live tomorrow morning, you can get the audio version on Odyssey, Podbean, Podbox, wherever you get podcasts from. You will get the audio version of this show on that, available on that platform. And then also, if you want to just go back and check out the YouTube, it's on the YouTube page. Make sure you click like and subscribe, Sideline Junkies, and we're there. You can also see us on the Upon Further Review 24/7 version of the show, of the network. So you have options to check us out. If you haven't, I recommend you do it, and I recommend you bring a friend along with you. What's up,
Yeah,
man?
bring a friend, and bring some more friends. Once again, welcome to Nothing But Net. Shouts out to Cease Fire on the track with the official theme song of Nothing But Net. You ready to get started, bro?
Yeah, let's get this thing going, man.
All right, let's take a look. Yeah, let's take a look at last night in the association.
All right, first up, we had the Spurs and the Rockets, 106-111. The Rockets pulled this one out, win this. Any thoughts?
Yeah, look, this was the NBC game of the night, and actually, the story of the game is the story of today's NBA, where no lead is safe. The Spurs, they were up by 16 points going late in the third quarter, and then the next thing you know, Houston chips away. Reed Shepherd, 21 points. He had an incredible fourth quarter in helping to lead this team, lead the Rockets back, and they copped that win.
It's funny that, well, it's not funny, but I wish the kid could have played more last year, the Shepherd kid, because I think he'd be further along. I think now he's starting to find his footing. And I think some of the additions, like the KD addition, helps him with the floor and everything. So that's good stuff, man.
Yeah. Like I said, it was it was a exciting game, and it was purely today's NBA. Look, you got a 16-point lead, you got a 20-point lead. It's not safe. I don't care who you are. It's not safe.
Not the way we shoot the basketball nowadays.
Nope.
All right, we got the Lakers 115, the Nuggets 107.
Yo, this was the battle between Jamal Murray and Luka Doncic. I mean, they were going back. I mean, they were going back to back to back to back, especially in the first half. And in the first half, I mean, you had a Denver Nuggets team that had a 15-point lead going into halftime. And then once again, no lead is safe. Because the Lakers put it on. Luka had a triple-double night. Okay. I mean, he had 38 points, 13 assists, 13 rebounds, and 10 assists. I'll say one thing that I really enjoyed about the game. It was seeing and getting the chance to see Gonzaga legend Drew Timme get some meaningful minutes on the floor. That I did enjoy. And then of course, in the end, Lakers caught back and got the win.
All right. Next up on the banners, real quick, we got the Suns 116, the Sixers 110. What's your notes got on this one?
Actually, I mean, to be honest with you, this was a decent game. Our boy VJ Edgecombe, who was sporting the new cut. Okay. So he hit the line. The lineup was nice. He had 25 points yesterday. But however, I mean, it was another Devin Booker game. 27 points. Excellent. I'll say this. It was a really, really good road win for a Phoenix Suns team that, once again, we said this earlier, that that are off to a surprising start in this first half of the NBA season.
All right. Next up, Clippers 110, the Bulls 138. Ooh.
Yeah. Shout out to Carolina's Kobe White. He hit 27 points, and this was okay. He scored 27 points, all right, and 25 of those points are from three. All right, which was a Bulls franchise record. The Clippers have looked better in the over the past 10 games. But this one got away from them quick, and they couldn't recover.
We have the Wolves 122, Jazz 127.
All right, that was tight. The kid, Kyron George, career high 43 points. All right, and they actually were behind, and it came back to win this game on their own court. I'll say this. One thing I've noticed about the Utah Jazz, under 500, yeah, but at the same time, they're under Coach Handy, they're developing their culture. So they're gonna lose a lot of games this year. However, they got the right pieces to build on here.
All right, and then to close out the slate for the night, you had the Raptors 145, the Warriors 127.
Oh, okay. Let's start right here first. The Raptors started the game on a 10-0 run. And from there on, the Dubs couldn't keep up. They couldn't catch up. They played, and that one thing I noticed, watching some of this game, they played really, really, really good defense on step. The way they staggered, their double team, against Steph, and with the Jimmy Butler injury, which of course we're going to go into. One thing that this team had been doing since Jimmy got there was the way they stagger the Step minutes and the Jimmy minutes, where when Step's getting rest, Jimmy's out there running with the second unit so that they're, so they don't lose that much in scoring. Now with the step, those step rest minutes, you don't have that scoring, and they definitely did not have that scoring last night. And the funny part about last night, for the first time since before Christmas, Jonathan Kuminga cracked the rotation. And they actually gave him some run in the starting in the second quarter. Emmanuel Quickly, 40 points for the Raptors, who are looking good, trying to compete and stay within the top 4 of the Eastern Conference.
All right, let's get to it because we actually got a question on it. So let's get the young man off of Twitch. Dan Gaming 2125 says, question, how do you think GSW rebound from this whole Jimmy thing and the Kuminga situation? Also, what do you think is going to be the surprise trade nobody has on their radar?
Well, first off, let's go ahead, Leah. Let's go ahead, jump in, talk about Jimmy Butler. A couple of games ago, he tore his ACL, and now he is out for the season. Be honest with you, I'm not sure. I know coming into this season, even with Jimmy Butler, we looked at this team as as the old dudes trying to get that last run in for their core. Right. And Jimmy was a major key to this run. And now he's out. Jonathan Kuminga demanded a trade. He demanded a trade last week. Now, when you can demand a trade, but also at the same time, it's up to the general manager, in this case, that being Michael Dunleavy, to make a move. I'm not sure if they're going to make a move or be able to make a move. And to be honest with you, I don't think there's really a surprise move out there for them to make. I mean, last year when it came to Jimmy and when it came to, to getting to Golden State, it was choreographed, and we as NBA aficionados saw it a mile away. It was choreographed a freaking month before it actually happened, so that we were able to see. When injuries occur, it's hard to foresee the next move. Because at this point right now, maybe it's time for Steve Kerr to get up off his crankiness and now play Kuminga, because he doesn't have much of a choice. Even with Kuminga demanding a trade, look, he's still an asset that you got to play to see how far you're going to get. And with the at this point now, with the Butler injury, I mean, I don't see them getting far, but also at the same time, I mean, let's be honest, Midnight Rider, with Butler there anyway, we ain't seen him getting that far.
Right. The only thing I can see is they find somebody to take on Kuminga, find like a small deal there. But there was some interesting I saw on and it's not on here. But I mean, Giannis made some interesting comments and been making some interesting comments. And I think, I don't know, I'm feeling closer to he might get moved somewhere between now and the new NBA season next year. I don't know how soon it happens because of the money, but he's somebody to look out for, because it's like they ready to get divorced. It's just nobody wants to sign the paperwork.
Yeah, I still hold to divorce isn't going to happen until the off season. I still hold to that. Because there's still, that's still a lot of pieces, or better yet, the money that has to match up. I mean,
Right.
and I mean, and really, there's really only there's one true place that we know that he wants to play at, where if they deal, the money would fit up. So let's just go ahead and roll over to our next topic. Okay, look, everybody know I'm the resident Knicks fan. So after Monday night's terrible, terrible, terrible loss to an under 500 Dallas Maverick team, Jalen Brunson called a players only meeting after that loss. According to Ramona Shelburne of ESPN, one of the main things that was mentioned in this players only meeting is we can't blame this on the coaches. Nobody's going to save us. We are going to have to do it ourselves. That's what a captain's supposed to do. All right. But you look, I'll say this, looking over they're 7-10. Sorry, let me rephrase that. 7 losses in the past 10 games. And me, I've watched every game. They have not looked in sync. I know a lot of fans are fussing about the play of Karl Anthony Towns and him not being connected, or even knowing his role in this new system that Mike Brown has brought to New York. Also, there have been other reports of some dissension, especially between the head coach and some of the players. For example, there was an incident during the Golden State Warriors game at Golden State where, during a foul, Karl Anthony Towns fouling Draymond Green, and Draymond Green and Mike Brown hugging each other, and that reportedly has not landed well in the locker room, as well as in the front office. So been hearing, so over the past couple of days, you've really been hearing a lot of things. Steve Papa was reporting that Karl Anthony Towns was being shopped to teams like Memphis, Charlotte, and Orlando, while SNY's Ian Begley, who I always look at as one of the major New York insiders, is pretty much, the front office is still standing firm on this is our core. Any changes that will be made will be to enhance the core versus trading away players. If you want my opinion,
Yeah, you gotta give us real quick so we can get everything, get to the
got
back
you.
end.
Let it ride. This is the dog days of the NBA right now.
Right.
When you're looking at January through the All-Star break, slumps are going to happen. It's up to this team, as the captain said, to get it together. So we'll see how things work and pan between now and especially the All-Star break.
All right. Speaking of the All-Star break, the NBA All-Stars are announced. Let's go ahead and give you that. Boom. So we got Shai Gilgeous, Nikola Jokic, Luka Doncic, Steph Curry, Victor Wembanyama, and then on the East starters, Cade Cunningham, Tyrese Maxey. Glad to see he got a spot. Giannis, Jalen Brunson, and Jaylen Brown.
Yeah. Okay. I'm first off, not surprised with the starters from the East, to be quite honest with you. Okay. Let's keep it a buck. Okay. The top 3 point guards in the NBA are in the Eastern Conference. And those, I'll say this, three of those top five are Cade Cunningham. He's on an MVP role. All right. Jalen Brunson is always in the mix. Tyrese Maxey, deserving all-star year. Okay. And Jaylen Brown may become, this is the first time that Jaylen Brown has been voted as a starter, and deservingly so, with the way that he is led and propelled Boston to remain in the top, in the top four of the East. So no surprise. All right. The West, be honest with you, look, there's no surprise in the West. Steph is going to be an all-star starter as long as Steph is an all-star starter. Luka is right now at the midway point in the season. Let's be extremely clear. He's the MVP of the league. Joker's Joker. As long as Joker's joking, even though Joker's injured, he will be starting. Okay. Wemby, this is just the start of his ascension as a regular all-star starter. And of course, Shea is Shea. I mean, let's keep it for real. Now, what name, ladies and gentlemen, what name did we not mention out of those 10 players?
Your boy LeBron James.
First time since actually, this is the first time that he's not been voted to the to the All-Star game as a starter.
That's correct.
Yeah. And I'll say this. I mean, if we're talking deservingly so. All right. But also remember, pop that other clip up here. Now, remember, all-star voting is a weighted score, which means it's not just the ranking. It's not just the voters. Okay. Right. Yeah. It's weighted, by player ranking, fan vote, and media ranking. So the fan vote is still weighted the heaviest. It's still weighted the heaviest. But the media and the player vote, is a major part of it as well. Think about it. Last year, LaMelo Ball was the leading candidate for the All-Star game based on the fan vote, but only based on the fan vote. For his position, he was number one in the fan vote, but he was like 8 and 9 on the player ranking and the media ranking, and that kept him out of the All-Star game, or that kept him out of being voted in as a starter.
Anything else you want to offer this?
No, you can go ahead and remove it. I mean, I'll say this. I thought all around there's no complaints. Everybody got it right.
All right, let's go back to the Jimmy. But I know we passed the Jimmy Butler thing, but we got a comment. I want to give this guy some love and see, because I think this is a good question. I just don't agree with some of the stuff in here. Dan Gaming 2125 says, I think Kuminga would go to Chicago. Him and Giddey would be cool. And Golden State gets back Kobe White and some things. I don't know about that one.
Yeah, that's cute. Never happened. Because that's not really good. I'll say this. That's not good work for Kuminga. Okay, that's not good work for Kuminga. If you're going to look at, I'll say this, if you're going to look at Kuminga being dealt anywhere, you still got to look at Sacramento. Right? Sacramento was a team that wanted him in the first place. However, because he was a restricted free agent, and because of the bad precedent that Toronto set when they signed Emmanuel Quickly for his restricted free agent contract, and kind of shied people away from signing Kuminga, and it actually kind of hurt. If you remember from this past summer, it hurt the restricted free agent market. Right. So I would look, if we're talking Kuminga, I would actually look at teams like the Kings, like the Mavericks, and and the Miami Heat. Look at those three teams. Look and pay attention to those three teams in any possible Kuminga move. However, the Jimmy Butler injury changes a lot. So I would honestly be surprised. It would surprise me just because of that injury if Kuminga even gets moved.
All right, last minute. We can just call this the freestyle. Right. We take the last 30 seconds to a minute, and we just, what you thinking? We haven't talked about it. I've heard Ja to Miami, and then I've also heard. Let's just go with that one. That way we can get in and out off of that.
Okay. Yeah, and we said this last week. Ja to Miami is a possibility. I mean, it is a possibility. I think it's a bigger possibility if we're looking at things wide. Okay, not just Ja to Miami, but a breakdown and Memphis being sellers in the in the trade deadline market.
Makes all the sense.
Yeah.
All right. Any last second surprises you think we might get?
Look, man, I'm gonna be straight up with you. For some, I got this feeling and inkling that this trade, this upcoming trade deadline is going to be a lot about smaller pieces.
Okay.
I mean, usually it's always about smaller pieces, but I just think I got this feeling for some odd reason, I don't think we're going to have a big name like we've had in the past couple of years move during the trade deadline. Those moves are going to occur in the offseason.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, another episode of Nothing But Net. We always do, we take you and lead you into the next show on the network, which is In the Pasture Seat, starring the gentleman Jack Carr. I think he's still doing his run of high school coaches. I think we're on another state champion. I don't remember the name. I apologize, Jack. I don't have a name, but stay tuned. Listen to the great interview and enjoy. Anything else?
Nah, man, look, that's it. For the Midnight Rider, I'm C. Perry II. Once again, Nothing But Net. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you're subscribing to the Sideline Junkies podcast and network. Make sure, if audio is your thing, make sure you're checking us out always the next day on all of your favorite all of your favorite audio podcasting platforms. And don't forget, this show replays live. This actual show replays live on Sideline Junkies podcast network upon further review. With that being said, look, man, enjoy the rest of your night. Enjoy the rest of your week. Stay safe from the snowmageddon that's supposed to be hitting us. And as always, swish, we out.
Yeah, buddy, welcome back, everyone, to another edition of Unapologetic Sports. It's your favorite uncle, along with the fly guy himself, Flying Brian. But hold on, y'all. Hold on. One second. I got to make sure.
What's wrong? What? You like my head?
Hold. What are you wearing, man?
I'm Rams guy. What are you talking about? Is it in the background right there? That's me. I've always been with Matt Stafford. Let me get my Matt Stafford picture. Oh, wait. Yeah, we got a lot to talk about, don't we? With freezers and fire-ins and all
Hey, do
kinds of
y'all
stuff.
see what I see? Do y'all see what I see? Okay. He's a Rams guy, y'all. That's what he just said, right? Hey, man, when the fly guy comes back, in the meantime, in between time, let's thank everybody for tuning in last week's show, and let's thank everybody for tuning in this week's show. Like your Uncle Lee Ice always say, I hope we can entertain y'all doing whatever you're going through. If you had a rough day, kick it with us for this 60 minutes or 60, 75 minutes. Oh, okay. All right, he's back, y'all. The fly guy's back in his Bill Mafia attire. Welcome back, man. Welcome back.
Yeah.
Welcome back. I was thanking everybody for tuning in the last week's show, thanking everybody for tuning in. And I was like, come back, sit back, kick it with us, whatever you're going through, something hard, put it aside, come have some fun with us. Even if you had a good day, still chill, come have some fun with us. Don't nobody chop it up like Unapologetic, the fly guy and your favorite Uncle Lee Ice. Brian, I would say, how are you? But I pretty much know how you're doing. So we'll just save that for later.
Yeah, there's lots
You ready to get things started?
Yes, sir.
Give it to me. Oh, forgot to do. Yeah, all right. He knows, y'all. He keeps me in check, man. All right, let's get right to the recap. Who you want to go first?
Let's go ahead and do the college, since that's the biggest story, I guess.
Oh,
Yeah.
my Hurricanes lost, but nothing to be ashamed of. It was a great game.
Yeah, great game.
It was a great. You actually, hey, all right.
Yeah.
Let's give him a round of applause. It was a great game, man. Indiana, they deserved to win. A lot of Heisman moments for Fernando Mendoza. Everybody's going to be talking about the play on 4th and 5 near the goal line, the dive. I'm pretty sure, like they were saying, there'll probably be a statue. Everybody from the state of Indiana probably had that picture on their wall. But, you know, like I said, it was a great game. I mean, both teams have nothing to be ashamed of. The better team won. They was favored to win. Miami gave it their all. It was, like I said, it was a very entertaining game to watch. What you think?
Yeah, obviously the running play at the end. I watched the first. I watched the beginning of it, and then went to something else and came back, and then watched like the whole last half. Yeah, I mean, it was. I don't know. It's just I'm only a Bills fan. I'm not a local sports teams fan. I don't have a college team, so it's hard for me to get invested because I just don't have anyone to follow. The reason I'm a Bills fan is just a weird reason, but yeah, I mean, when it's exciting and it's fun, but every time I look at a college highlight normally or a score, it's always 55-10. Like that's not fun to watch, especially if you're not rooting for anyone. But yeah, it was very exciting. He had that moment. The next few weeks stuff we'll talk more about when the draft is coming. But so what do you think about him? Obviously he's going to be the first pick of the draft. I'm pretty sure the Raiders are going to talk him, although there is a weird rumor going around about the Ravens. Maybe it's just
what?
Trading for the pick, giving up Lamar and a bunch of picks. Maybe it's just a nonsense I've seen on Facebook, but I've seen it in a couple different places of a weird rumor about trading Lamar to the Raiders.
Really?
Again, it might just be complete nonsense, but I saw it on a couple different pages. But
I mean, if you're the Raiders, when you make that trade,
isn't it weird though that two teams
MVP, even though I don't think he will ever win a Super Bowl, but hey, he'll bring
Yeah.
excitement back to the Raiders. If I mean,
Isn't it weird that two teams may or may not be having this big, thought, and neither of them have a coach? I mean, I don't know.
I know it's a long shot because nephew Josh informed me last night when I was talking to him. He said that the Indiana coach is not an NFL coach, but if I'm the Raiders, man, I'm throwing
As a package,
everything at him.
Yeah, I heard that
throwing
on
everything. What I'm like, here's the blank check. What do you want? Because you get to draft your guy. You get to build with your guy. You know what I'm saying? Because it's as good as it's ever going to get in Indiana. Okay? It's as the expectations moving forward, you will never, ever meet. I can't see them winning. I'll take that. I'm not giving them enough credit. Who knows? This could be the start of a dynasty. But he won't have his quarterback. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He would have to recruit. I heard they already got another recruiter, and I'm sure the human guru himself, Midnight Rider, will inform us of the quarterback that's coming in. But this is as good as it get right now. This is as good as it get. He's 6. I mean, but if he don't have NFL aspirations, I understand it. This is going to be a movie, of course. Somebody say Who's is part 2. The football redemption. So it was, like I say, it was a great game. I'll tell you who I love, man. When I first saw him beginning of the season, when he scored his first touchdown, he was only 17. Malachi Tony. This guy, man, he has Heisman written all over him. This is the Rocket and Desmond Howard plus. You know what I'm saying? This guy.
Like I said, I never watched him before. I don't watch. But yeah, he was exciting. You could tell that they were putting their eggs in his basket.
He's going to get stronger. This guy is incredible.
So Midnight Rider said, why leave Indiana? He can start a dynasty. He owns the state of Indiana.
Yeah. The thing is, what's the odds of him getting another championship? I'm just saying, like I said, this could be the start of a dynasty. It could be. But Indiana, like I said, he has to dig down and recruiting and I know he brought a lot of his players from James Madison over. So, I would just, if I'm the Raiders, I'm going to give it a shot. He can only say no, right?
Right.
He can only say no.
I know everybody really wants to hear my more in-depth college point of view because I'm so so knowledgeable of it, but they might be able to give you a little more information coming up on the Tuesday Night Flight next. So let's move on to a little more of our specialty. I don't know if I really want to move on to it, but
wow, I'm impressed. You brought it up quick.
Yeah, obviously the Buffalo Bills went to Denver. They lost 33-30 in the overtime. Game of the weekend. Obviously the loss was tough. It just seems like Buffalo's losses are always devastating. Like they just can't lose. Like they got spanked by the Bengals a few years ago at home. It's true though.
It's gotta be. You and the boss man. I give it to y'all. That's gotta be one of the hardest things to do is to be a Buffalo Bill fan. Y'all losses are just gut wrenching, man.
The loss to the Bengals a few years ago was the biggest gap loss. Like they got beat soundly, and nobody cares. Nobody talks about it because they just got beat. But they have all these losses recently. I wasn't old enough to remember the first Super Bowl, but obviously wide right, the Music City Miracle. They get blown out by Dallas twice. They talk a lot.
Blown out by us.
They talk a lot of crap going into your game. I know there's a famous. My dad brings it up all the time. I don't remember who said it. I'm just will make it in the comments.
Yeah,
they were gonna gut the Hogs.
Yeah, the dumbass defensive coordinator.
Yeah, stuff like that. They just can't lose. And I know it's emotional. I know Josh is getting mocked for it, and there are memes of it and stuff, him crying and all that. And but. We'll talk more about it in the body of the show, and then they fire McDermott. Now I've been against McDermott's firing for a while. Again, my son was on the show last week. He's been on the show last couple weeks. He's been wanting McDermott fired for years, and I've been against it, mostly because, again, well, he's not going to get us over the hump. I don't know that. I have no idea. I just don't know what is on the other side. Do I honestly think they can bring somebody in that's going to put him over the hump? I don't know. Maybe they will, but Harbaugh's already out. Tomlin's not. We're getting too much into it. We got to cover that later on. But yeah, but it was a great game. Josh had 4 turnovers. Obviously, he also had 4 touchdowns. He took the lead with 4 minutes to go. He got him to overtime. I know he missed the throw to Knox that would have won the game. I guess we'll talk about it real quick. I honestly don't really have an opinion because I don't know the rules. I'm not a ref. I see penalties all the time that I don't understand. I see things happen that I don't understand. But do I think it was a catch or not? I really don't have an opinion.
Really?
When he caught it and he went down, we all screamed in my house. I went, "Oh my God, Brandon Cooks did it." And then he ripped the ball out, and I was like, okay, it was an interception. And when they showed it, I don't know. Apparently, everybody seems to be split on it, but
if I'm a Buffalo Bill fan, I'm pissed right now. Okay.
So you think it was a catch?
I thought it was. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I didn't know I would rule it a catch, but when you see at the Chicago game,
yeah,
and the guy catches it, and he was ruled down after he caught it, then the ball then I would be pissed. That should have been a catch. Ruled a catch. If the guy in the Chicago game caught it, then that should have been ruled a catch. So.
Yeah, the Rams game. I know everybody's been talking about that. Like I said, I'm not going to sit here and act like I know what I'm talking about when it comes to the rules. And we make a joke because I said there's a bunch of family here where we all watch it together. Every time they like make a run or something, like, oh, he got 4 yards, and then it'll pop up he got 2. It's like, oh, it looked like 4 to me. I don't know, but I hoped it was a catch. There's a bunch of pictures and angles that you see where it damn sure looks like he's got the ball and he's being touched by the guy.
The thing is, how many times have we seen something that's not a fumble because he was ruled down by contact? With his butt on the ground, ass on the ground, knee on the ground, anything. He was clearly on the ground. His back and ass was on the ground.
They're talking about survive the ground, like the ball's got to survive the ground. That's fine, but I don't know how you survive the ground when the guy's ripping the ball out. Like, I mean, if that guy wasn't there and he landed on his back, I don't think he would have lost control of the ball, right? I mean, he lost control of the ball because it was being taken away. I don't know. I know that, like, I watch a show on Fox Sports 1. The main guy on there was adamant that it wasn't a catch. I also watched LaShawn McCoy and the guy he does a video podcast with. They both immediately were yelling during the game it was a catch. I know Joe Burrow has tweeted, it hasn't tweeted in years, and he tweeted that it wasn't a catch. So, I don't know. You got players who are saying it is. You got players that say it isn't. You got referees saying it was. You got referees saying it wasn't. I don't know. I wish it wasn't a catch.
They didn't even look at it. That's what
that's what McDermott was really upset about, and he brought up in the press conference. That
got him fired, though.
Yeah, that was part of it, and there's something else to come on about that today. We'll talk about, but real quick.
Hats off to Denver because they found a way to win,
and they stayed with him. I mean, a lot of people thought
I didn't think they were going to be able to stay with him.
Yeah, and again, Buffalo had 5 turnovers. They have 2 turnovers. They probably win that game soundly.
Right.
The turnover. I guess we got to mention it. The turnover at half. Obviously, that was on Josh, him running like that, and I don't know what he was doing with the ball. But again, there's that on McDermott too. Why do anything there? Just go in the half. We saw the Rams do it the very next day. They had a few seconds. They had timeouts. They knelt the ball. They went in the half because they had the ball at half. So again, that was also another little coaching thing where you're trying to make something happen when you're only down by 7 and you got the ball at halftime. It was a weird call to go for it, and it was weird that Josh took off and just didn't go down, knowing he couldn't stop the clock. It was very weird. Real quick, we'll move on to the next game. I got all my family feels sorry for me because they're here watching. My uncle thinks it was a catch. My other uncle thought it was a catch. And you never guess what my mom thinks. She thought it was a catch. So
I thought it was a catch too. I thought it should have been ruled a catch. If you're down, if a runner has the ball and he's down by contact, and then it comes out they ruled that down my contract. That's what I saw. So that should have been in rule to catch.
All right, so we're gonna move on.
What's our next game?
Well, we don't talk about this game too much because the Seattle Seahawks, they destroyed the 49ers.
Oh my goodness.
The injuries finally caught up. It wasn't much of a game. Again, most of us on the show last week we picked the 49ers, but Darnold, didn't need to do much. So
Shout out
to
the
Seahawks look
Midnight
hot
Rider.
going
He was
into
the only
the
one who picked,
championship game, beat down the 49ers. Anything on that real quick?
I got a shout out to the Midnight Rider. He was the only one that picked Seattle, wasn't it?
What's happened?
Wasn't he? I think he was
Hold
the
on,
only
I can't hear you.
I said shout out to the Midnight Rider. I think he was the only one that picked the Seahawks. Can you hear me? Well, Fly Guy has dipped away a little while. So you got Lee Ice by himself rolling until he gets back. Nothing much to say about, like I said, this game. 49ers got their ass kicked. I didn't see this coming. I thought the 49ers would show some pride, more pride. I mean, not saying that they didn't have pride. I didn't see this ass whooping coming. So opening kickoff, they take it back, touchdown. They never recovered from that. You back, B?
What's going on?
You still having problems?
I hear you now. I don't know what's going on. All right, I got.
He's back, y'all.
Yeah.
Oh no. You got
okay. Yeah. Sorry, we got
everything that Buffalo Wi-Fi?
I guess.
I was just saying, man, there's nothing, like you said, ain't much to talk about this. Seattle got their ass kicked. Not Seattle. 49ers got their ass kicked. Seattle returned the opening kickoff, and it was off and running from there.
Real quick, because we are professionals here. Doesn't matter that we have technical difficulties. We talked about the Bills game and didn't mention the second most important thing in the game. Bo Nix is hurt.
Oh yeah. That's I mean, we'll talk about that in the preview though. Yeah,
and then also we have if you guys can't tell, if everybody watching should know who we have as our guest, old Matty Ice. Be joining us for the rest of the show, talking about coaches, firings, and hopefully Rams going to the Super Bowl. I'm a big Rams fan. I don't know if anybody knows that.
Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it. Man, Lee Ice, I've been looking forward to this for a while now. I told you, I love your damn voice. Like, your voice is just perfect for sports talk, man. It's just, I'm psyched to be on here.
Oh man, thank you, sir. Thank you, brother. I got a question for the Fly Guy.
Yeah.
What does it feel like to be surrounded by ice?
It's cold. Well, it's real cold. It's going to be cold in a little bit. So another game, not a whole lot to talk about. Texans defense is great, and apparently CJ Stroud just don't know how to play football anymore after his rookie year. I don't know what.
I tried to tell y'all last week. It's real in New England, man, and they're going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
they are, and I
sure
know
does
you.
Look by the way,
I know you and the rest of the all Buffalo Bills fans. Y'all gonna hate seeing them in the Super Bowl, boy.
Well, it also sucks too because after the performance that the Broncos put on against Buffalo and it being in Denver, it would have been a really close game. I don't think it was a guarantee either. I mean, either way, now it's almost a guarantee unless we get some Jeff Hostetler, Nick Foles magic. But Drake May turned the ball over 3 times and they still won by double digits.
What you think about it, Matty?
Oh, this game was over early on too. I mean, I feel bad for CJ Stroud being an Ohio State guy. It was hard to watch that first half. The only thing I'd say this too is I don't think New England played particularly well. They also had 3 turnovers themselves. So this was not a pretty game on either side of the ball. Just New England was better, and CJ just couldn't do anything. I mean, in fairness to him, he also didn't have Nico Stroud. Then he loses Schwartz, I think, on the first or second possession of the game. Then he loses his other tight end later in the game. So he was without some of his more significant weapons that he's had down the stretch. But it didn't really surprise me that New England won this game.
To be that bad, man, that was just terrible.
I will say I was a little surprised because the defense did exactly what we thought they were going to do, and they got 3 turnovers. I know the score is 21-16, but Stroud just needed to be competent, and he just wasn't.
Wasn't.
He just looked lost. I mean, the look on his face is like, I don't know. I think one announcer said he just looked defeated. You know.
All right, so the other good game, and arguably had the greatest play we've seen in the last 20 years. The Rams went into Chicago, 20-17. Actually, the game itself wasn't great going into the fourth quarter. I mean, it was fine, it was close, and then they just turned it on in the fourth quarter, and then Caleb Williams decided to run backwards 20 yards and launch himself on one foot and throw a perfect pass into the end zone. And then did what young quarterbacks do and throw a pick and lose the game. So, but
You know,
it was
that
a
was
great
a
game.
design play. Ben Johnson drew that up, right?
Like that?
Yeah, he did. He does. He draws plays up. Like, go back and look at some of the Lions plays that they ran. That wasn't luck. I mean, it was luck that but that was drawn up. He had everybody go to the right, and what was the receiver who caught the ball? If you watch, he's slowly going like that, and he has the arm talent to make that throw, man. That wasn't no Hail Mary. What you think, Maddie?
It's that watching that play and Jimmy J in the comments, if you put up his comment, man, he's exactly what I'm thinking too. Is like you see that ball go in the air and you're like, oh, that's going to get picked because he's on his back foot throwing that thing into the end zone. Like, okay, somebody's going to come down and pick this thing off. And then next thing you know, it's like Kmet's just there on his own, like nobody's within 3 yards. I'm like, how the hell does he throw up a 40-yarder off of his back foot that high up in the air? And he ends up getting separation. It was an insane play.
It was funny because when the ball was in the air and the shot came in where the defender was, I was like, oh, he's launching it out of bounds because the defender's just kind of standing there really far away. And then it dropped right in the guy's chest. I was like, oh, what just happened here? Like, what?
Yeah, when he caught it, it was like, did he really catch that? Because I thought he was throwing. I'm like, why the hell is he throwing the ball away? But I think that was a drawn up play.
All right, real quick. So we got some predictions going in for the Super Bowl. Again, we'll do that in our thing, but just what the audience is saying. Audience, my family. Oh yeah, we know CJ was horrible. That's not what I want to hit. So he's got New England.
That's being nice. Saying he was horrible is being nice.
Yeah.
So Tim Sweeney, my other uncle, my dad's whole family's in here watching, him and all his brothers. He's got the Rams and the Patriots. Jimmy's got New England and Seattle. And then they also said threw it up as a prayer. If you think it was a design play, Leroy, then
yeah, it's called prayer. No, I'm serious. It was a design play, man. How did he get that wide open? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, when they showed it, because they were like hollering for push off and stuff, and they showed a replay. Yeah. It wasn't a push off. I don't think the guy thought the ball was going to get there. I don't know what the defender.
Yeah, I don't know what he was doing because he should not. It should not have ended that way. That's for sure. But I was happy it did at the time because I was rooting for Chicago, obviously. But
before we move on to the two hottest segments in all of sports media, let's discuss this picture real quick because it's relevant. You guys remember this from last year?
No, that's Stroud
and Caleb. So this was a game last year. It was either Monday night or Sunday night, and like the Texans ended up winning by like a close thing or whatever it was at the end. But Stroud went up to Caleb and gave him like some encouragement, like a Brady would have gone up to like a Josh Allen, like say 5 years ago. Although Stroud's only like a year older than him and has only been in the league for one more year at this point because they're just a year apart. And since this game, Stroud has been awful, and Caleb has become what he's become now. So it's so funny that because this gets referenced on a show I watch all the time, and this is resurfaced after both games. So
I wasn't a Caleb Williams fan coming into the season. I thought he was just a flaky guy, But I became a Caleb Williams fan this year, man. I believe in it. I don't think all he does is lucky, man. Some people think, oh, it's luck. Nah. His arm talent is ridiculous. So,
And the stuff
The
that
only
he needs to work on can be worked on. He's got the natural gift that you want. The completion percentage and that kind of stuff can be worked on or hopefully fixed. So
he's only going to get better. I mean, I think this was just
yeah.
the tip of the iceberg for him. I think as far as where he's going to be able to go with this team. I mean, I think it's a learning experience also for Ben Johnson because let's be honest, I know he likes to go for it, but there are 3 different opportunities where if he just kicks a damn field goal, they win the game. And then for as gutsy as he is the entire game, I was shocked he didn't just go for 2 and win it in regulation. And
we were all talking about, because again, my son's a Rams fan, all my family's here. We were debating. It's like, this guy, he might go for 2, and they're like, no. I was like, what do you mean no?
He can't go for 2.
Well,
Mr.
and then the other
Hodges
part I didn't
check,
get,
man.
Chicago wins the toss. And I know the whole new thing is you kick first, but that Rams defense was on the field for a long time. Take the ball and keep
Score a
that
touchdown.
defense on the field. I didn't like that decision either.
So we got Keith checking in saying Caleb needs to get the percentage up. Yeah, and again, that's something that can be fixed. The kind of pass that he made in that game, that can't really be taught. So the fact that he has that already, and you can work on the.
Remember, he had a touchdown earlier this year. He's running to the right. He's going out of bounds. He jumps out of bounds and just throws it up. Well, it looked like he threw it up, but it lands right in the receiver's arms. That's why I say his arm talent is just ridiculous.
And that's another thing. Chicago, how many points did they leave on the board? Was it 6? I know there was one. They were
6 to 9.
I hope you don't follow in what's his previous head coach that he was
Campbell.
under. Yeah, I hope you don't follow under his method. Keep going forward and not get, like Maddie said, man, take the points. You gotta take the points sometimes. That
Especially in a
shouldn't come
game
back
like
and
that.
bite you in the ass.
Yeah.
It's gonna come back and bite.
When you're playing an offense like this, although they only put up 20, but when you're playing an offense like the Rams and you know that Stafford can almost score at will, you got to take whatever you can get.
I think the snow slowed the Rams down because if you watch the game, the first drive, they just went straight down the field.
All right, man. Time to we covered all 4, right? All right. The people have been waiting. We got a lot of people watching. They're waiting for the 2 hottest segments. So let's.
And Maddie wants to be a part of it.
I do.
Both fly high and the deep. There he is, y'all. Look at the fly guy.
All right.
Yeah,
So, unfortunately, we're dwindling the field down. So, who's been flying high for a month and a half? He's not really flying that high, so can't bring him up. So, we'll do obviously Indiana, that whole area, that whole campus, Mendoza. They're probably flying the highest right now. Obviously the big win for them. He's going to be the first pick of the draft, or if rumors I've heard come to fruition, he'll be a Baltimore Raven. But like I said, it's probably just nonsense that's on the internet. But who knows? We got the Patriots still flying high. We flying right on in the Super Bowl. It looks like. I'm not going to say Drake May's flying high because he's got 5 turnovers of 4 touchdowns. But that's just irritating that you're just going to back into the Super Bowl. I mean, you can't take nothing away from them. And on paper, it shows that all 3 of the teams have a top 5 defense and they're winning. So but if we ever had a championship game I guess the Nick Foles, comes to mind. Right. And I think Hostetler played the championship game too with the Giants, but
yeah, but they had been playing in the regular season going into the playoffs.
True.
So just still talking about, he left all the points on the board. I would say the Broncos are flying high. They should be. They just had the biggest win of their season, beating Josh Allen and the Bills, but unfortunately Bo Nix broke a bone in his ankle, right? On a play that should have never happened, which is also weird. And then Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold's got to be flying high. He's in the championship game. He's got a chance to be the first guy in his draft class to get to the Super Bowl over Josh Allen.
Who else was in that draft class?
Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield, and Josh Rosen. But yeah, I don't think he will. We'll have that prediction later on. And yeah, so that's not a lot of stuff flying high. But the Rams will be flying right into the championship game. Puka and Stafford still have the chemistry. I know that the Bears had a bad defense going in, so everybody was expecting 40. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing that they didn't score. I don't think it's going to have any indication on the offense, but it'll be a great matchup coming up. You play a team 3 times, and hopefully the Rams can fly right on into the Super Bowl and take out old Drake May. Boo.
Matty Ice.
Yes,
Who
guys.
you got flying high?
All right, so my first flying high, if any of you guys don't know, for those just watching, I host a Drive Time Mondays at 5. I do a segment that's called Jose, Can You Sing? Because I am a huge national anthem fan. And Jim Cornelison has to be flying high. That's the guy that did the anthem before the Bears game. It was one of the best anthems I've ever. I love him because he does the Blackhawks game. I was afraid he was never going to make my list because the Blackhawks just don't get into big games anymore. They don't make the playoffs. So they invited him to do the anthem at the Bears game, and he did not let me down. That was one of the best anthems ever. The Chicago fans were going crazy during it. It was just awesome. So Jim Cornelison has to be getting flying high. He's been getting love all over social media. So I give it to him for that. That's my first flying high.
Yeah, I'm gonna go YouTube and watch it now because I didn't hear it.
Yeah, it's
we
all
weren't
over
paying full attention, but it was good though. Like it was.
Yep. And so I'm now going to give you a little hockey love, because I am a hockey guy. So I'm going to go a little hockey guy. There's a goaltender for the Carolina Hurricanes. His name is Brandon Bussey. He's a 27-year-old rookie. And these are one of these stories that pop up, in sports all over the place, where you see a guy that, and you see it a lot in baseball too, the old vet that's been in the minor leagues forever. He finally gets his shot on an NHL team. He's a goaltender on a very good Carolina Hurricanes team who's had issues with goaltending all year. And this 27-year-old rookie is taking the league by storm. He's the fastest goaltender to get to 18 wins in only 22 games. He's 18-3-1. He's just on fire. It's a great story for, it's a story that everyone loves. The older rookie that comes into the league and then just takes off and flying. So that's another flying high for you. And then if you didn't see it, talking about going on YouTube, there was a goalie fight last night in the NHL. So Allison Doug,
2 goalies?
2 goalies. The first time in 6 years we had a goalie fight. It was between Allison Dukovic and Sergei Bobrovsky it was between San Jose and Florida. It was a great fight, but Alex joins a rare group of goalies because he's been in a fight, he's scored a goal, and he's got an assist. Only 3 other goalies in any NHL history have done that. So it was awesome last night. Those are my 3 flying highs.
All right. So as you said earlier, how does it feel? Feel a little cold. It is feeling a little cold. So
go back to flying high. Can I do
you got some flying high. Oh yeah, of course.
Guess who's flying high? The NBA fans who voted for the All-Star game and voted the starters. Guess who's not a starter?
Yeah, I saw that. That's right.
LeBron James. So shout out to all the NBA fans who finally get it. They flying high because they did not vote LeBron as a starter. That's good. That's all I got.
So let's go down to the basement. Let's head on down.
Just come on down. Put your coats on. Put your earmuffs.
Because it's time for the deep freeze.
Maddie, look at that freezer. Tell me that's not the most gorgeous thing that you've ever seen.
It is beautiful.
All right, so quick plug for you to put him in the freezer. Like Maddie said, he's a hockey guy. So if people that are watching the show doesn't check the show out, check the show out on Monday. He's covers hockey. You can see by the logo.
Look at that.
So if you need your hockey knowledge, check out Drive Time at, what you said, 5:30, right? Monday at 5:30?
Mondays at 5 usually.
5 o'clock. All right, cool.
My brother in ice. Well, I might as well put him in first since we put the fans on flying high. Let's put LeBron James in the freezer for not getting voted to the All-Star game. I'm trying to tell you what he did last year has a lot to do with it. For not showing up. Remember last year, he got voted, didn't make an announcement till the day before the All-Star game he wasn't playing. So LeBron, get your ass in that beautiful ass freezer. I don't like you, so you know I'm gonna put your ass in the freezer. Second, we talked about the game. It don't get no uglier than the game he had. C.J. Stroud, Lord have mercy, boy. I don't know what happened to him, man. 2 years ago, he was the talk of the town, cream of the crop. Now he's the bottom of somebody's shoe, man. The game he had was horrible. Or Charles Barkley, how Charles Barkley said terrible.
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 Terrible. C.J. Stroud, I don't know I hope something's not really bothering you. You're not going through anything, major, but you got to improve your play, bro, next year because you really let your team down, man. And guess who else going in the freezer? Fly guy.
Well, you already put Josh in there, so
Got to put your boy in there, man.
you put him in there before the playoffs started.
It should have never gone. He missed 2 open receivers, man.
I know.
2, not 1, but 2. And he had the turnovers. I mean, I feel bad, but I'm not apologizing for it.
No, we don't do
You
that.
know why? 'Cause just look at the name of the show. So, but your boy got to go in the freezer, man. He was crying afterwards, but
because he's passionate.
He's cold right now. So, Josh Allen, get your ass in that freezer. And the last, I'm putting whoever is in charge of the NFL replay or the rules committee, because at the very least, what should have happened on the catch, the interception, whatever you want to call it, it should have been a replay. It should have been a replay. You got to look at. I agree with your. Well, damn, I was about to call him your coach, but he ain't the coach no more. I agree with your former coach. Can we slow it down at least to look at it?
And I don't disagree with that either.
At least, if you're gonna call it interception, fine, but just at least look at it, man.
Well, the play with that magnitude and where, yeah. Because if they call it a catch, the game's
on the
over.
line here. Literally, somebody got fired after this. You know, Buffalo wins the game. McDermott still has a job. So, yeah, they got to do something about this. So, whoever in charge, was the rules committee, whatever, replay, get all of them, get in the freezer and figure that shit out. So, that's Lee Ice Deep Freezer, y'all.
All right, so when we come back, we're going to cover, obviously, to cover the championship games. We'll get a little in-depth conversation about the coach, all the coaching carousel, what's going on. Guys that have been fired, well, obviously, we know have been fired. We got some hire-ins, and who we all think is going to be, I guess the 2 big ones are the Ravens and the Bills, who we think's going there. And maybe Bill Belichick will come to Buffalo.
Oh, Lord. I really want. Slick.
All right.
Slick.
Love it.
That's the man, buddy. All right, y'all. Let's talk about these coaches getting hired and fired. Maddie, what you think about Sean McDermott getting fired?
Overall, I'm not surprised by it. I think when you have this many shots and you don't get in, it doesn't surprise me. My son is a huge Steelers fan, and he was celebrating after Tomlin got fired. And I think my thought is on all 3 of them: Baltimore, Buffalo, and Pittsburgh. Be careful what you wish for, because you have coaches that have been very, very successful, and we'll see how all 3. I'm going to be very curious to see how all 3 of these teams do, without it. But Buffalo's probably the best spot where anyone want to go, because you've got an established thing that's there ready. I just don't know what's the next guy. And I think that's what you talked about earlier in the show, which I 100% agree with you on. Like, who do you get that's better? Like,
Right.
that I don't know. Like, and so until they hire the coach, we'll see. But I'm not surprised by it, but we'll see if it ends up being the right thing or not. If the next guy can take him to the next, into that Super Bowl game.
And I joked about Belichick before we went to break. Obviously, I don't think that's happening. And if it does, whatever. But the big rumor right now is Brian Daboll. Obviously, Josh Allen's former offensive coordinator, who people think molded him to what he became. And I don't know how much I like that. I mean, I know he got the Giants to a playoffs, but I feel like if you're going to fire a guy like McDermott, who has completely turned the franchise around and has got them to where they are, bringing in a guy like that is not exciting. And I'm not sure who is exciting, but speaking of the coaches, let's get a quick idea of what's going on. So we got 10 teams, right? And we got 4 spots already filled. So we got Harbaugh to the Giants. We got Salah to the Titans. What was it? Jeff? I don't even know who that is. Who is that? Jeff?
He's the Green Bay defensive coordinator.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, I read that.
Yeah.
And then we got was it Alex?
Stefanski.
Stefanski to the Falcons. So any of these real quick? I mean, obviously the Harbaugh, but any of these think are going to work with poor Salah. I mean, he's head coach of the Giants. I mean the Jets.
I'm waiting another year if I'm him, man.
First he goes to the Jets, now he's at the Titans. I mean, what is it?
I mean, damn, you would thought he learned his lesson. What happened to him in New York? This might be worse.
I mean, they technically have the quarterback, but do they is the big question.
I mean, he's not an offensive coach, so
no,
who's going to work with him?
Yeah.
I don't get that hire. I don't really like the Miami hire. Is interesting. We'll see. It's a coordinator. It's not flashy. Stefanski in Atlanta is interesting, especially if they can get Kyle Pitts to come back, because one thing that Stefanski did well with Cleveland was develop tight ends, and I think Kyle Pitts has been missing that. But I think he's a free agent, so they got to get him back. But that could be interesting. I think that one's. I think he's got a better chance to win quicker than Harbaugh does with the Giants.
He does. I'd like Stefanski going to Atlanta, especially if Kirk Cousins is his quarterback. I mean, I know Kirk's old, and I know people are like, I've been putting this man down for years, but like I said in the beginning of the year, they're a better team with him at quarterback, and he's an offensive coach, and Kirk can probably run his system to a T, man.
They showed that the last 4 games. He won the last 4 games.
Yeah.
Got him,
So I like Stefanski. I like Stefanski in Atlanta. He has more weapons than he ever had in Cleveland. And remember, he got them to the playoffs. So he got them to the playoffs with Joe Flacco.
Right.
The other guy who got hired in Miami, from what I hear, the GM liked him when he was in Green Bay. So I guess that was if I get hired, I'm gonna bring you along.
So do we think? I mean, obviously, I think they want to. Do we think they can move on from Tua? And if not, if they are not going to move on from Tua, you're bringing in a defensive guy. I
don't know. That doesn't look pretty. Miami doesn't look like a pretty thing going on right now. Although they did win what? They won
7.
7?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They won 7.
What are they going to do with
the last 3 games? Yeah, I think 2 is done.
But there's no way they can trade him, right? He's just going to be a $60 million bench player.
Or I don't know how much of his money they have to eat up if he gets cut. Because that's the thing with the NFL. You never know how these salaries work. I can't remember how much they eat if they just waive him. But yeah, I mean he might be the backup, because I think you saw enough out of viewers where I think they're probably going to give him. You think that he would be the starter going into opening day.
Yeah, or at least let him compete with Tua. I don't know.
Yep.
It's as a Bills fan, I'm glad it's a disaster over there. But
so, Brian, you being a Bills fan, how do you feel about Joe Brady? And I call him Brian Dumbass. They don't.
Well, hold on. We got somebody that might want to give us a special
Oh,
guest.
this stuff. Vic, not Ryder.
What's up, dog? Nah, I just
What's
want to
up,
jump in
buddy?
real quick because I mean, if Maddie get to be on, I should be able to get on.
Of course.
One of the best shows in the land. And don't forget, Maggie does drive time 5:00 on Mondays. Of course, we got 7:45 Tuesday night flight. But really, what I want to jump in, y'all were talking Stefanski early, and don't forget, Stefanski was in Minnesota when Kirk was there, and Kirk had his better years. So there's no transition necessary for Kirk and Stefanski. It'd be going back to what you did before. Just signing back up for something you did. Just wanted to jump in with that, man.
Hey, Midnight, stay on, bro.
Yeah,
Midnight Rider, you know me for years. Would you have ever thought that I'll be praising Kirk Cousins?
That's the other reason. That's actually the other reason I jumped in, because I wanted to make sure you were okay. I didn't know we needed to call 911 or something, because I've never heard you say anything good about Kirk. So yeah, man, that was crazy. I just had to come in and be part of that because I wanted that on the ledger. You know what I'm saying? BI says something good about Kirk Cousins. I was there to witness it. So for sure. And Flying Brian ain't slick. I see what he's doing with the graphics, man. I mean, he's killing it, knocking it out of the park.
Killing it.
This
and look,
ice
he never
cream,
tells me. He said, I would just want to see your reaction.
Yeah, I like getting his live reaction. Everything that I put up. Well, I did show you the new ice background, but yeah, the show is real. Anything you see on here is real. We don't apologize for it, and we give real reactions. So you brought up Joe Brady.
I like that.
Yeah. Again, similar to what I said about Dayball. We're gonna upgrade Joe Brady. I mean, I think Brady's gonna get a head coaching job somewhere else. I got up on the screen some of the potential candidates. So we got offensive-minded coach, defensive-minded. Mike LaFleur, I think, might be interesting. Rams offensive coordinator. I mean, Stafford's about to win an MVP. And then Clint Kubiak is also interesting. What he's done with Darnold and the Seahawks. I think you should, if you're going to fire McDermott and a defensive-minded guy, I would assume, and I've read that they are wanting an offensive-minded coach. So if that's the direction they're going to go, if you're going to do coordinators, I kind of like those two. I don't want McDaniel. I know he's a genius or whatever. If he wants to be offensive coordinator, fine. I don't want him as a head coach. I don't know how that works. You fail with
Dolphins. With his little capris in Buffalo in the wintertime.
That too. I don't want to have to deal with a press conference with him every week and his quirky nonsense. I mean, if he wins a Super Bowl, it'll be cute, but when he doesn't, it's not. It's annoying. So
is the LaFleur guy? Is he related to LaFleur in Green Bay?
Yes.
He is? Okay.
Yeah, he had a stint with the Jets that didn't go well, but of course his quarterback was the MILF Hunter. What's his name from BYU?
The MILF Hunter.
What's the kid from BYU? You know what I'm talking about?
I know. Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
Where is he at? He's still around?
He's backing up somewhere. In Denver, he ain't getting a start.
No.
Denver?
No, he's not with them. I don't know. I gotta look it up. I forgot. But he's somewhere where the starter is pretty good. Oh, he's in Miami. That's actually where he is.
Okay.
Yeah, they would have rather started Ewers than him.
Yeah.
Where do old women go to retire? Yeah.
Miami.
And then Shula is appealing. Obviously, the name. I guess a defensive coach. If Buffalo also wants to look at where they think they don't need an offensive-minded guy because they average 30 points a game with Josh Allen anyway, and technically the issue this year was the defense was the worst it's been under McDermott. So if they want to go defensive-minded again, I don't know. Tomlin's not – he's not coaching. And everybody else on this list for defensive-minded doesn't really appeal to me. I'm just optimistic. I just hope whatever it is works. But again, I'm not the guy. I didn't want to get rid of McDermott. I wanted to.
Do you think Josh was okay with this? They had to run it past him.
Yeah, I'm assuming the problem is that what I wanted to mention earlier, I forgot to mention it. Players are pissed off that they got rid of him, and they're being very vocal about it. So hopefully that all decides when they go in. But Josh has not said a word. So I'm
Means
not.
he
I
was
haven't.
okay with it.
Yeah, I mean, you would assume they would have checked with him. Real quick, there was a thing where that's being reported that McDermott, Pagula, the owner, and Brandon Bean, the GM, all had a meeting 5 or 6 weeks ago, and McDermott was vocal about how he felt about the roster and how they were missing. They didn't have the right pieces to get to a Super Bowl. And apparently, Pagula and Bean were pissed off about that. Whether that has anything to do with anything, I don't know, but that's being reported now. So,
Pakula's
Guess
been
who
known
lost?
to make hot, quick decisions because he's done that with the Sabres team. I mean, like he gets rid of coaches and GMs there very quickly too. So we'll see. I mean, on the Raiders side of it, being a Raider fan, I've said this on my show yesterday. If I'm the Raiders, I'm calling Sean McDermott because I will gladly take him. The Raiders have been without a playoff spot forever, so I will gladly accept a coach that can just find the goddamn playoffs. Like that's good enough for me for right now because our team is so damn terrible and such a joke. Like I would love to see. I'd love to see McDermott there. I don't think he's going to go there. I think he is going to coach again, but I don't think it'll be in Las Vegas. But I'd be calling him up.
Ryder, any input on McDermott and in Buffalo? Or save it. I mean, I know you're going to cover it in a few minutes, but
No, I'll give you a snippet. I'll give you a piece of what I'll say. I think we called on our show all three of the aging head coaches being gone. I think we all had that on our bingo card, and it's happened kind of the way we thought. I thought Harbaugh would lose if whoever lost the Steelers Ravens game, that coach would get let go first. Then the next one would step down, and I thought McDermott had to get there. And the only problem for him is just like Lee Ice and like Matty have said eloquently, it's just you keep getting to the promised land and getting close, but you just can't get to the show. So I think there just has to be a fundamental change sometimes. And I'm with Matty on the thought of what's next and who's next. And are you putting yourself in a better spot? But sometimes you gotta have change because 18, 19, and then 10. That's the three longest tenure coaches in the league.
yeah, I think Vrabel is the longest tenured coach in the AFC East, and he's been there less than a year.
Are you sick? Damn.
Yeah.
Well, the other three teams don't have coaches.
Oh my God! And
Well,
he's
the
only
Jets,
gonna be in it. Yeah,
the Jets
Well,
would technically,
the
Grant.
Dolphins, they don't have
that's
coaches.
crazy. Second year coach.
The Dolphins just got their coach, so
All
he's
right, let's
the
get to the conference championship, y'all. We got
right.
about 10 minutes.
So let's do our conference championship preview. Last time I can play this.
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs?
Playoffs.
All right, so we have the AFC Championship game. The New England Patriots, favored at 5.5, travel to Denver to take on not Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos. So we have guests, so we'll let them go first. Go ahead, Matt. Go ahead and give us your prediction.
Yeah, I mean, Garrett Stidham's making his fifth start ever, his first since 2023. He's never been in a playoff game. So the question is, can Sean Payton get him ready for it? I know a lot of people are just thinking Denver's done. I am not one of them. I think Denver's defense, if New England plays like they did last week, Denver's defense will win this game. And with that, I'm going to stick with the home team. I think Denver finds a way, and Garrett Stidham does just enough and wins the game.
I like that. I like that.
Whoa.
I don't know officially what my pick's going to be, just because I haven't really gotten into it. And I know I'll probably have to do it Sunday morning. But my thoughts on this game, period, is just I think the Broncos losing Knicks hurts. But, it could be a blessing in disguise. I think Maddie's right. I think there could be some Stidham magic. We used to do a show with a guy that loved him some Jared Stidham back in the day. But that's neither here nor there. But there's a possibility. And the Patriots, Drake looked okay in another game, but I mean, was it the Texans defense? And if that's the case, you know, they got a gift last week with CJ Stroud playing like straight ass
Yeah.
the whole game. So we don't know what could have been if the Texans got some kind of functioning quarterback play. They could have won that ball game and make this a whole different situation. So I think Denver has a chance. And it's a little bit bigger than Lloyd Christmas. Looking at Miss Mary Swanson.
Mary Swan, 1 in a million.
Hey, there's a chance.
Didn't he play for the? Go ahead.
Oh no, you're good.
Didn't he play for the Patriots?
Yeah, I think it was the Patriots or the Raiders, one of the two.
He was with the Raiders for a little bit.
But who drafted him? Who drafted him?
I can't remember who
I
drafted him.
want to say the Patriots. I want to say
The Patriots. Didn't Belichick draft him?
He may
I
have.
think so.
So he got a little bit of a little bit of revenge factor working, but I don't know. At least they do have home field advantage, and that is a tremendous home field advantage. But I think Denver's defense has to score twice to win this game, and I don't see that happening. Drake May takes his team to the playoffs. I know that's going to upset the fly guy and the boss man, but it's going to happen. New England will be playing for a 7th championship.
All right, so we got Jimmy. Is Denver's defense better than the Texans? It's not better, but it's close though. Denver's got a really good defense. I mean, I know Buffalo put 30 on him, but that's just it. And Josh Allen. So I'll take. Hey, I don't have to sound like a homer since Matty Ice already broke it down very nicely. I'll take the Broncos too. Get some Nick Foles, Jeff Hostetler magic, and they said Drake May's not playing great. Defense bailed him out pretty much in last game. So if they have 3 turnovers, hopefully they can.
The Patriots defense. I think they were ranked 4th this year. So
yeah, they're pretty good too. But Drake can't handle the air. Too tired, and Broncos won by a field goal.
It'd be a nice story, but we've already had our football story.